Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm user host Joe Scorn. I'm joined here by Tony Tones at RT.
Hello, I'm
Let's
here
get.
as well.
So this week, I know Gamescom is literally just happened. Is happening right now. But that's probably going to be next week, and I've decided that I'm just going to talk about the news I want to talk about, and then be like, fuck everything else. So. I'm just going to talk about the stuff that interests me, and there's a lot of stuff that interests me because there's a lot of fucking news recently. There's tons and tons of fucking news.
Why is August the month of news? I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like July was last year the big news month, but
maybe.
I can't actually remember.
It feels like some weeks I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel, and some weeks I'm having to cut off entire podcasts just to get
it's so weird
it to fit into like a 2 or 3 hour podcast spot. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go. We're gonna watch trailers. Then we're gonna do quick news, and I will try and get through it quickly because this is stuff like a lot of the stuff I cut off last week, so it might be older news now, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. And then we'll do quick news, and then we will do the main topics, and then we will end. So we'll just jump straight into trailers. Ghost of Tsushima. Do you know anything about Ghost of Tsushima, Tony?
I do actually, a little bit. And it's pretty good actually. I'm not entirely sold on the color palette, but like apparently like some parts of the game are darker than other parts, and like so it's like there's some really beautiful areas. So yeah, I don't know. That's really cool.
It's one of those...
I didn't really add co-op until recently, actually.
This is the co-op announcement.
I think it
didn't. No, it didn't start with co-op.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was planned though.
I didn't know it was planned. I thought it was just going to be like a Sekiro thing where it was going to be a whole Dark Souls game single player sort of thing. So the way the co-op's going to work is you can play through the entire game 2-player co-op, and then if you want to play with 4 players, you can play a 4-player survival co-op. And it's a completely free update. There's no DLC. It's called Legends.
This is a sucker punch game, isn't it? So they're usually pretty good.
I don't actually know.
Business models.
I know about this game, like, it's an incredibly Japanese game, but it's not made by Japanese people.
No, I think it's Sucker Punch. So.
Yeah.
I can tell
to a point where, like, tons of Japanese like devs and stuff were saying, I can't believe that Sucker Punch. The devs outside of Japan made like a game like this that like tons of people wanted. I think it's like one of the best like selling games of this year. Maybe.
Yeah, it's sold kind of. I heard that loads of people were playing it and really liked it. So I know my friends who I don't have a PlayStation. It's a PlayStation 4 only thing, isn't it? Or is it not? I can't.
I think it's PS4 exclusive.
Either way, someone had
I think it's PS. It might be. Let me check.
I always get confused because like some things become not PlayStation exclusive, and I get very confused. The friends I know had on PlayStation 4.
So Sony said recently they want to, with the Horizon Zero Dawn port, they actually want to bring more games to PC. Like they said in their quarterly report that they want to. I think their wording was, we want to open more revenue streams through the PC market, sort of thing.
It's like how Xbox did it.
It seems like Horizon Zero Dawn sold really well. But for everything I've seen of the Horizon Zero Dawn port, it did not run very well.
Yeah, it's still really bad.
Yeah, like they've done a couple of fix updates, but it's still a lot of issues with that game.
Yeah, they're not really updating their news section on the Steam store page often at the moment, so I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah, so hopefully they can get some better ports. Like I think that the people who port the best games at the moment have to be Capcom. Like their PC ports are insane.
Doesn't Square Enix outsource it to an external company to do it, and they're really good. Whether they do that too.
I don't know much about Square Enix, so maybe.
It's just that I think I can't remember who it was. I think Tomb Raider and the old Hitman stuff, where it was still under Square Enix, had really good ports because another company did it.
I know. Whenever I think about Square Enix, I just think Japanese JRPG anime games. That's like all.
Yeah, they do that as well, but they also do other games.
Like
other games are available.
Well, far and few between the their big ones are like Final
Oh yeah,
Fantasy and stuff like that, or
yeah.
like they publish Kingdom Hearts. I don't know if they
But
develop
Final
it.
Fantasy's only recently re-becoming JRPGs. So like, I feel like they kind of gave up on JRPGs for a bit. They went, hang on a minute, people actually like JRPGs. Like, yeah, Square Enix. It's almost as if that's why you exist.
We got another Civ 6 update. So quickly go through this. You can now turn specific wonders off if you don't want to see them. And you can also make ones appear more often to add more variety to the game, which is pretty interesting. You can now play in what's called blind tech shuffle mode. So people were complaining that there was obviously the best tech in the game, and you would just keep going for that game and game and game again, right? But
Yeah.
now you can kind of play blind, so you don't know what your next tech is going to be until you upgrade into it, which makes like I think was it Centurion or something was the name, Blind Centurion or something was the name of the other game. So it's like it's a feature that's been in other Civ games that people really enjoy playing, and they're bringing it to this game. And also they're
Okay.
nerfing forest fires. They're making them burn out, so they don't just keep rampaging everywhere from the what was it? What was the expansion called where they were doing like the this is what the blind technology tree will look like. I'll just skip to that. So it'll be unrevealed, and then you won't know what your next
Yeah.
when you're going to get is going to be. So that's really interesting. Yeah. Quick update on that. Untitled Goose Game is also getting a 2-player mode as well, Tony. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Untitled Goose Game is September 23rd. We'll be getting a free 2-player mode. I guess.
Oh my god, there's two of them.
Yep.
Oh dear. Okay.
New Goose, new Honk.
Okay.
So you can play through the
I'm
entire
really feeling
game
this, actually.
2-player.
Oh my god,
But I
this is
don't
great.
think there will be new content.
This looks like the old levels to me.
Yeah, which is kind of a shame because I'm
But
fairly
they've
sure
added.
the original game is very short. I think
True.
like I've seen a speed run of Untitled Goose Game, and if you like know where you're going and you like skip, you like glitch
Yeah,
through it, you can complete the game in like a couple of minutes. But I think like
I
a
guess,
normal
but
playthrough of Untitled Goose Game is like a couple of hours.
I think it's the same length as Pool 1.
Pool 1 I think is a bit longer than a couple of hours.
No, I guess. It's like 3 hours in Pool 1, but
But the thing you have to understand about Portal is it's a puzzle game. It's more
yeah,
of
it's
a
a
puzzle
puzzle game.
game than Untitled Goose. It's a bit different. Like I think
Yeah, I agree. I really like the entire Goose Game though. So I don't know. It seems I was gonna say it seems they've added extra puzzle elements to these levels. Like it doesn't look like it's just like just they added another player. It looks like they've actually added some mechanics to it. Like it's a
But
little bit different.
all I wanted to say was if you've already played through the game,
Yeah. Yeah.
doing it
I don't
looks like
know.
it would be a lot easier with 2 people. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
So I
it
don't know if
looks
it would add that
more
much
fun though to me.
replayability. I mean, if you're somebody who
Okay.
only plays multiplayer co-op games, then this is definitely a great update for you if you're looking to play with a friend, or if you're looking to play with someone who's never played before, or someone who's maybe not that
Well,
old to gaming, someone who's new to gaming, and help them get into a game.
yeah.
That might be nice.
I just quite like the humor in this game, so it's quite funny.
So we've got a brand new reveal of a Hitman level, and it's looks really cool. It's the Dartmoor level. So you're actually going to be
Oh,
investigating an English murder mystery.
not nice hat.
It actually looks pretty cool. So
What are these glasses?
there's been a murder. There's been a murder at this
Mordor.
house, and you're being sent in as a fake detective, and you have to like talk
Wait,
to
you
the
weren't
family.
the killer?
No, you weren't the killer, but you need to figure out who killed this person. So it's like
Is it
it's like
randomized
pretty
each
cool.
playthrough?
I don't know, but it's really cool
That'd be
that
cool.
an entire level of Hitman's like a murder mystery game almost. So I think that's pretty cool, and especially like English murder mystery. Like you have people like
Yeah.
Sherlock, you know, that
In
old
a,
school kind of
it's like Cluedo
detective
though.
work.
It's like it's in a house.
Yeah. Who done it? It was the butler. Was it? I think this level will be less about like grabbing cylinders and throwing them at people and then putting on a ship's uniform, and this one will be more about actually like talking or like spying on people's interactions and stuff. I don't know. Given how Hitman 2 played out, probably more of picking up random objects and throwing them at AI and then them wobbling around and having no idea what's going on. But it looks cool. So
there's still disguises.
Yeah, there's definitely. Well, you're going in a disguise, so there's definitely a disguise.
True.
But I love this direction that that IO's going with. Now that they have the rights to, self-publish. They basically they said in the blog post itself, they said like they have a huge board just full of all the ideas they want to put in the new Hitman game, and this was like a big one of them. And they can't show the board because. Spoilers for other levels, of course. But yeah.
The other thing is we don't want to overpromise. You don't want to accidentally do the Peter Molyneux like you promised that won't actually be in the game. Like that's actually a big problem.
It's kind of sad news though. Hitman 3 won't have ghost mode, and the ghost mode from Hitman 2 is getting shut down. So if you don't know, Hitman 2 actually had multiplayer servers where you could do 1v1 PvP murder competitions called ghost mode. And it seems like that's not being brought over to Hitman 3, and they're shutting down the servers for Hitman 2, so that's kind of sad news. I think it was a very underutilized game mode. I don't think many people played it apart from some hardcore fans, but for those fans who did play that is sad news.
I assume it's quite expensive to run as well. But
yeah, like servers are so expensive these days that adding a multiplayer mode that a very small portion of your player base plays is just not worth it. For a lot of companies. Sorry? Oh, I accidentally hit the mute. Thank God you told me. Because I remember a podcast where I was muted for like half an hour, and I thought Tony was ignoring me, and I went insane.
I think we both went insane that podcast.
Yeah.
I think it was fine.
Okay. Yeah, I accidentally hit the end button, which made my page scroll down, and I accidentally muted myself. If I ever get muted again, just shout "Mike muted," and then I'll know like like you gotta be on mic. You gotta be on mic muted watch because I'll accidentally mute myself all the time.
Yeah. Well, I've got it set so I can actually say it easier. So
okay. Last piece of Hitman news: Hitman 3. If you buy it on current generation consoles, you will get your quote-unquote free upgrade to the next generation consoles, the Xbox Series
You're saying quote-unquote because they're not doing it properly.
Well, you had issue with the word free when I was talking about it last week.
The last time is like both free and upgrade were completely wrong in my opinion. Okay. This time it actually is.
Okay. House Flipper is getting a VR game, which actually looks pretty cool. I don't know if this is a.
You haven't played the original House Flipper, have you?
No. It looks like a game I would really enjoy. As a big fan of games like Viscera Cleanup Detail. That looks right. This is definitely a Sips game. Sips loves his simulator games, and he loves just.
He plays this all the time.
This is a boomer game where you just go into a house and you spend like an hour just making this house proper. Like he plays all the simulator. Like he was playing like PC Building Simulator.
Oh yeah. I don't remember this being so colourful. Have they changed the?
Well, I assume the graphics have been like the house definitely looks a lot smaller. You're more like closed in. Obviously, they're gonna have to kind of rein in the graphics and the size to work on the VR because I believe this is Oculus. I believe this is going to be on
like quite realistic.
This is Oculus Quest. So this is actually running on the headset itself. So you're not going to have like a dedicated computer GPU running this. But it is coming to Steam as well, so I believe if you have an Index, you can play this as well. So yeah,
that's cool. House
Flipper.
Oh yeah, the actual logos are way more.
Next one, I don't know if I told you about this, but The Witcher randomly came out. They're making a Pokemon Go style AR game.
What?
Yeah, I don't think I told you about this. I was like, I'll save that for the podcast.
No, I did not hear about this.
The Witcher Monster Slayer is going to be a free-to-play augmented reality location-based RPG for iOS and Android.
What's this company? Spoko. Member of the
CJ Project Red family. I don't know. I'd have to look into them a little bit more.
That's really
but let's watch the trailer. God damn it! Why do embedded videos not let you full screen them? I'm gonna have to open this.
Don't they? They do for me.
Well, not on the websites I've been using. So. Spoko.
Does F not work?
Yeah, I was trying to double click. Anyway.
Oh, that didn't work for you.
The newest, there was an announcement of Spoko on August 20th as joining the CJ Project Red family for an unannounced project. So that's like a week ago now. Before this was announced.
Intense, though. Look at this.
We've known the people behind Spoko for several years. They approached us with an interesting idea based on one of their brands. So it seems like Spoko had an idea for this Pokemon Go style Witcher game. And then they came to CJ Project Red and were like, hey, we can make this for you if you lend us the brand. And then CJ Project Red was like, oh yeah, sure, let's do this sort of thing. So it seems like it was maybe a good deal for them both, sort of thing. Whether this will be a success, we'll have to see. Let's see, CJ, I mean, it's not a developer I'm familiar with. I know CJ Project Red, of course. They've gone into the mobile market with The Witcher Gwent mobile. They've gone The Witcher Gwent single player mobile. The Thronebreaker, I believe it's called, was the single player version of Gwent on the mobile.
I believe so.
Which you could also play on PC as well.
I really want to play that actually. I should probably buy it.
No. Get Slay the Spire on mobile instead. We've had this conversation. Better game.
That's good to do both. I could do both.
If you've only got £10, you want to buy one game. Now, you may be living in a theoretical world where you have £20, Tony. But
I live with £20.
In my world, you don't.
Oh my god, they've got a very Witcher oh my god, okay.
So I don't. I'm not really sure what the gameplay is going to be like. I assume it's going to be like you.
There's a gameplay trailer below.
Is there? What do you mean below?
It's only a minute long. It's not very involved. So there's like.
Oh, on the website.
Yeah, there's like a
okay. Yeah. Thank you, Tony, for spotting that. I didn't see that on the original announcement.
Wait, you can look at a moose's head. What the? I just got the thing for you.
So basically, this is the Witcher Pokemon Go. I feel like that's the best way to describe it. Everyone knows what Pokemon Go is. I mean, we had Harry Potter Pokemon Go.
Oh,
okay. One thing I have to point out. This is a real-world based AR game. This is probably the worst time you could release a game where you have to go outside and move around in order to get encounters.
Oh. When's this been released? Do we know yet?
When is it getting released?
Yeah.
Let me check.
Because maybe it's coming out next year, maybe? Maybe it's in development.
It just says soon.
Yeah.
Soon TM. So I assume this year. If they said soon.
It does say soon.
Soon TM. Does this mean I have to go outside again? Yeah. Okay. Gameplay looks okay. Looks like it's like sword, and then you have the Witcher magic spells which you can cast.
And you can parry and things.
Pokemon Go introduced a bunch of features to play at home, not a dead game, Andy said. Oh, okay, that's really interesting. I had no idea Pokemon Go had a kind of a stay-at-home feature, because people I know when Pokemon Go came out, people were already using an emulator and then tricking the emulator into thinking they were moving around so they could play it at home, sort of thing. Because they didn't want to go outside.
Like a virtual map sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember when people didn't want to go outside back in the day?
Now they do.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how well this is going to do in the middle of a pandemic, but I mean, good luck to them, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a tech preview for Crisis Remastered. So this is Crisis Remastered is coming out on the 18th of September 2020. We got a direct comparison from the original Crisis.
That's pretty impressive.
It's really interesting because it's an Epic Games Store exclusive, and if you don't know your history, Epic's Unreal Engine and the CryEngine used to be direct competitors. So it's kind of crazy that CryEngine's now releasing on the Epic Games Store as an exclusive. And the really interesting thing about Crisis Remastered is it's going to have software-based ray tracing. Using its own proprietary engine. So it's going to allow you to have ray tracing on the PlayStation 4 and the PS and the Xbox One, which is releasing on the console exclusivity, because it's an Epic Games exclusive on PC. So I just wanted to kind of talk about this tech, because I find like ray tracing tech really interesting right now. So Crytek have developed their own software-based ray tracing. It's called SVOGI. It's Sparse Voxel Octree Global Illumination, which is running on DirectX 11. So this is pure software based. There's no hardware acceleration. And SVOGI uses diffuse lighting and cone tracing, and then it adds on top of that and cube maps, and then it adds on top ray trace specular reflections of geometry on top to create this software-based ray tracing. And they showed a demo of it off for this tech demo called Neon Noir. And if you were listening to what I said and you were like, Joe, that I don't really understand any of that, and why do you sound so smart? It's because I watched the Digital Foundry video on all of this tech, and I like researched it. So if you want to know more about Crytek's software-based ray tracing, I cannot recommend a better channel than Digital Foundry. Because they kind of go into the history of SVOGI and Crytek's history in at making this software-based global illumination and then ray tracing sort of thing. Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna get to a point, because like this is like the sort of software ray tracing that is not even possible to be accelerated if you had the extra hardware? Like, do you think we're gonna get a time? You know, like Chrome has the option to like have hardware acceleration. Do you think we'll have like ray tracing? Like software initially, but then it's like you can turn on a hardware acceleration to make it better or make it more efficient.
So the thing is, what we were already seeing with the consoles is the consoles are going to have hardware accelerate. The new consoles are going to have hardware accelerated ray tracing.
Yeah, and
they're also going to have SSDs, and we're seeing SSDs become baselines because of the consoles. So I think when ray tracing becomes baseline on the new consoles as well, we're going to see like hardware-based ray tracing become a baseline for games. And I think software-based ray tracing may get left a little bit behind. It depends how expensive hardware-based ray tracing becomes, because at the moment I think it's a bit too expensive in terms of the actual components, but also in terms of how much FPS you're losing by using the ray tracing. Like, it's expensive.
But at some point, it'll become the norm, I think.
Processing budget. If you think about a graphics card as having a certain amount of power, to this much is for resolution, this much is for frames, and then you're going to have to budget off an entire part of that power just for ray tracing.
But technically, we already do that with the old graphics. We just got so used to the old graphics that it's become normal graphics.
I mean, shadows have always been like a thing that's used for performance. Like, it's always like if you're on an older system or you're struggling to get enough FPS, it's always like turn off shadows or dynamic shadows, because having to render every single object I'm just saying, like shadows has always been a massive performance hit.
But like, I think is it the Turing architecture that like the GTX series were on? I can't remember which one's called what now. Or Turing's the new one?
I think Turing's the RTX series.
Right. Well, I can't remember. Like, whatever the GTX series graphics cards were, like I think when they
Pascal?
Like people, that was like the 10 series specifically, I think.
I think Pascal was that was in 2016. That was the successor. Because it went Maxwell, Pascal, and then I think we went to Turing as the RTX series.
I'm I'm just saying in general, like when the GTX level of graphics came out, like it was technically a new type of graphics, and people were complaining then, like, oh, why would you want this new level of graphics? It's taken away from performance. At some point, RTX would just become, or rather ray tracing, because RTX is just the NVIDIA thing. Ray tracing would just become the normal part of graphics cards.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I mean,
not get it.
I read a fucking PC Gamer article recently that was like, ray tracing is a scam. Like, don't.
Oh, okay.
And it was like terrible. It was like, I think they like they actually edited the article and went back on a lot of things they said because they got called out really hard on it, sort of thing.
Right.
Like it was very unsubstantiated sort of stuff. So yeah. But speaking of ray tracing, this is going to be really cool. Of course, the only other software-based ray tracing I can think of at the top of my head is actually path tracing, the Minecraft software-based OpenGL ray tracing
from the shaders people.
Yeah. There's a Patreon where you can subscribe to get access to that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we have actual ray tracing on Minecraft through NVIDIA working with Microsoft and utilizing DLSS 2.0 to get the performance hit to be good enough to run it.
Yeah, I'll say that the OpenGL one is for the Java edition, and the actual ray tracing is through the Bedrock edition.
So to wrap up this ray tracing talk, Intel has promised an enthusiast gaming GPU to try and take on AMD and NVIDIA in 2021, and it will include ray tracing. So we're going to have Intel graphic cards next year with ray tracing as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you notice that people are not buying AMD GPUs because they don't have ray tracing.
NVIDIA has an 80% market on GPUs.
Yeah,
and honestly, I wouldn't recommend someone to buy an AMD GPU right
now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because
no ray tracing.
The thing AMD has on NVIDIA right now is budget GPUs are way better on
price
the AMDs. Yeah, price performance is way better on the AMD side because on the lower graphics card, you're not going to have the ray tracing anyway. But the thing is, if you want the most powerful graphics card, you get a 2080 Ti. AMD just can't compete with a flagship graphics card. So I mean, wasn't I think Intel was when they trying to do GPUs before, not flagship ones, they were trying to do some lower end sort of things.
Oh, they're doing basically a second generation from the integrated graphics.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of integrated graphics.
It ties in better.
And I think AMD still has the Vega stuff still has the best integrated graphics sort of thing. We're seeing tons of
really good.
micro form stuff you would use to build NAS systems or servers or home cinema systems.
You need the PC.
Where you build a micro PC.
Slots for something else.
Yeah, where you build a micro PC, and we're starting to see Ryzen really small form CPUs as well. So that stuff's really cool. Anyway,
it's really good. Yeah,
we're still waiting for Big Navi. We have no idea what AMD's ray tracing looks like, but we have nothing to we have nothing to compare hardware-based ray tracing against apart from software-based ray tracing. So we'll have to see what AMD and Intel come out with.
You say that we don't know anything yet, but the next gen consoles are actually coming out pretty soon.
Soon TM, yeah.
No, not even soon TM. We know the dates, right?
Do we?
I swear we do.
I don't.
Hang on, I'll double check. You carry on. I'll see what the release dates are. We don't know exact dates. Okay. Christmas and holiday.
Yeah, they say holiday season a lot. So
Microsoft.
I was just gonna go with some quick news that I cut off, so we'll go through this quickly. This is Balan's Wonderland, which is a Squeenix game that was announced at the Microsoft press conference. I put it on here because I was like, oh, it's a 3D platformer. I like seeing 3D platformers. So even if it's an anime 3D platformer, I probably wouldn't play. I always think it's good to show off platformers that other people might enjoy, sort of thing. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm a bit weirded out by this art style.
yeah, it is a little strange, isn't it?
I don't know what it is, but it's like giving
But
me.
like all the suits are giving me like Mega Man vibes almost. But it does look
Yeah,
kind
but
of
like a
fun.
creepy Mega Man.
It does look like the actual gameplay itself
Yeah.
does look kind of fun, but like I
The
did see some
Inception
like
mods.
I did
Hello.
see some like frame drops, which I was like, okay, maybe it's like a maybe they're going for high graphics fidelity, like low FPS. So furries,
Oh, you know
Sonic,
what's...
yeah.
Oh my god. It reminds me of Mighty Number Nine, that really bad Kickstarter. That was
Really,
like
the
the
Mega Man clone, yeah.
that's maybe what's reminding me of.
Hmm.
Okay.
People are saying it looks like Knights from the Sega franchise, which I only know that Knights exists because they have characters in Sonic All-Star Racing transformed. I have no idea
Okay.
what game they're actually from, so if this looks like Sega's
Right.
Knights series, then yeah, that could be pretty cool. To go on next, we've got some Shadow Warrior 3 gameplay. 17 glorious minutes. I have actually been playing Shadow Warrior 2 with a friend recently because it has co-op, and I have to say, from playing, if this is more like Shadow Warrior 2 than Shadow Warrior 1, I don't know if I'd like that much because I'm not a big fan of the changes they made in Shadow Warrior 2. If you
Okay.
don't know, Shadow Warrior 1 was very much a heavily linear story-driven game where it was
Hmm.
about you fuse with a demon and then you have to kind of fight your way through a bunch of these demons and guys with guns and stuff, and like yakuza kind of stuff. And it was really fun. And then Shadow Warrior 2 was way more like ARPG. It was very much like everything had a
Right.
level, so you would find a sword and it was better level than your sword, and then it was very much. It felt
Oh,
like it
okay.
was very much looter shootery, but like not in a good way.
The bad
Like
parts.
a lot of the
Yeah.
levels felt like they were designed so you could just play them over 100 times, and like it didn't make playing it through once feel that good. Where compared to what it
Yeah.
did in the linear story, it's like I don't know. I just felt really disconnected from the world. Like it was more like I was in a play. I was in like a sandbox, like almost like a play area sort of thing. Not like I'm in the world. I'm just like yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
But
I'll actually play it and then find out for myself at some point.
yeah, I asked if you wanted to play Shadow Warrior 2 with me, and you said no. I haven't played
No.
Shadow Warrior 1, and I said well,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough.
So I need to do that.
So I don't actually know if Shadow Warrior 3 is going to have multiplayer. Let me look it up. It's only listed as single player so far. Like I don't know what their thoughts are. So if Shadow Warrior 3 goes back to single player, I actually think that's a better direction for the game in my opinion. Because I'm not like the Shadow Warrior 2 is not bad, but it's just not good. It feels like an okay game because I'm playing a multiplayer game with my friend, not because the game
Yeah.
is particularly good.
Well, you are voicing a very popular opinion of Shadow Warrior 2, so
Am I?
like yeah, yeah, a lot of people said that when it came out. Like it's not as good as the first one. It feels like watered down. I don't
Yep.
know, the looter shooting mechanics.
It just doesn't make the game feel fun.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time, I'm like the thing about the first game is it's so fun. Like it's all about movement and
Well,
using all these cool weapons on demons. And then when I'm playing Shadow Warrior 2, it's all about oh I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna pick up this gun and it's like well this gun oh I'm and then I got to that point where all the enemies felt like bullet spongy. And it's
oh,
like oh my
okay.
weapon's not good enough and I'm just like hitting this opponent over and over
Yeah.
again. And then the first game and in the trailer for number 3, all the guns look really weighty and they look really like meaty and fun and stuff. And it's like that's the game we really enjoyed. Whereas Shadow Warrior 2 is like
Yeah.
they added RPG and multiplayer just because that's what they thought gamers wanted, sort of thing.
Well, hopefully, I don't know. Shadow Warrior 3 looks like it's going back to one more so, but yeah, hopefully they actually have done that and not
Hmm.
just showing the good parts of the trailer.
Yeah. It's listed as single player, so I think we're just going to be going back to a linear story, which I'm really going to enjoy. So fingers crossed
Yeah.
for Shadow Warrior
Well,
3.
you can do linear stories with the co-op,
Yeah,
but
true.
people aren't doing that for some reason.
I felt like another thing when I was playing was I think I was playing the main story, but I think it felt like a side quest. Like the actual
Yeah,
main story was like go to this place and kill 5 of these enemies, and I'm like how is your main story like a side quest? Like all the quests felt
wait,
terrible.
we can talk about Skyrim or Shadow Warrior 2 if you want.
Both games
Oh,
probably.
okay.
Okay. You had to get the Bethesda jab in, didn't you?
Yeah, I think okay. I'd say Tangerine slightly here, but me and Michael have been discussing Skyrim quite a bit recently. It's
Yep.
like how it failed massively, like so many things. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's really annoying because the some things that it failed at, it's impossible to mod out because like you
Yeah.
basically have to redo the quests, and like that's not really possible because obviously we don't have the modders don't have access to the voice actors, so
And you're
it
saying
just
that
really
Shadow Warrior
sucks.
3 looks very similar to the Tomb Raider trilogy. I think if you'd play this game, you would very quickly realize that it's not
What?
like Tomb Raider at all.
What? It looks like Doom more than
Yeah,
anything,
it
but
looks.
okay.
Go and play Doom 2016 and then tell me this looks like Tomb Raider.
I don't understand the shot. Okay.
Is there free
Maybe
running
it's the naming
parkour in
scheme.
Tomb Raider? I'm not sure.
I don't know. From what I've seen of both all the games, I'm gonna go with none.
Okay,
But
we'll move
maybe
on.
he's talking about something specific.
Serious Sam is locked in for a September 24th release date.
My invitation.
Bug Snacks was another game I was interested in, and you may be thinking, Joe, why the fuck are you interested in Bug Snacks?
Yeah,
And the
why
reason
is this Bug
is
Snacks?
because this game looks terrible, right? And it's like a first-person, like weird, friendly game. But if this randomly turns into a horror game halfway through, I'm in. Like, if this is the Doki Doki Literature Club of games, then I'm in. Like, I like that shit where it's like this really happy, fun area, and then like you just get an inkling of some shit's going on, and then like all these happy creatures just like start getting murdered one by one or something. That would be great. I have no idea.
Duck Hunt. It's like another game like that, right?
Yes, Duck Hunt, the VR game sort of thing.
Yeah, that's really
It's
cool.
called Duck Season or something, I believe.
Yes.
That was a great VR game, yeah, Duck Season. I've seen someone play through that whole game, and that's great. I think if I was playing,
I'm not sure you're gonna get your wish for this game.
I don't know. But one of the trailers, when we were obviously it's showing like some boring ass gameplay I don't care about, right? Which is probably if that's the whole game, sure. But one of the trailers looked like one of the trailers had this really like dark undertone to it, like something else was going on, and immediately immediately like me and everyone else was like, "Oh man, this could be a horror game," sort of thing. Like something else, something else is happening on this island, and we're not like it. It's really teasing it.
Okay, fair enough. I should have watched the whole video, Joe. I should have waited to the end.
The thing is, like, the theme tune's before by Kerry Benito, which I believe is the Shrimp song people. Like they have the they have like the Japanese vocalist, and they have you've probably heard the Shrimp song. It's like, how many shrimp do you have to eat before you think your skin turns pink? And then that's very like a that's very much like a happy cutesy vibe sort of song, and then I think like everyone in the comments is saying this has to be a horror game. This has to be a horror game. There's no way that they're releasing this game as it is, because I feel like no one's gonna play it. Like it looks like a really shit version of like Viva Pinata or something. And everyone's confused what's going on in this game. But if it turns into a horror game, Bug Snacks Game of the Year confirmed here.
Okay.
Sniper Elite is being turned into a £60 board game, including a model of Hitler being shot in the testicles.
Oh wow!
Celebrating one of the greatest hits in video game history, the Sniper Elite board game will feature a figurine of Hitler being shot in the balls.
Wow!
Amazing.
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first. After years of development, the GoldenEye 25 fan remake just got DMCA'd. The GoldenEye 25 fan remake was pretty far in development from the screenshots and has since rebranded to Spies Don't Die.
Wait, who's the one that who owns the rights that can do this? Who is this?
The IP holder is MGM /
Oh.
Danjak.
Oh, okay. Right.
So basically, they were pretty like there's two main like fan projects for GoldenEye. There's of course GoldenEye Source, which I've actually done a spotlight video on. If you want to know about more about GoldenEye Source, but that's about the multiplayer of GoldenEye, and it's very much just a quicker. It's like Quake Arena style sort of game, or the original GoldenEye multiplayer kind of game mode. While this was trying to recreate a updated graphics version of the original GoldenEye single player. Basically, what they've done, they said, we're pretty far along, but from all the work we've done, we've got enough. We've got enough of our own work put into this that we could remove the James Bond characters and we could just turn this into our own, game. So if you're interested in a GoldenEye type of game, check out Spies Don't Die.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are right. They don't have to have like the exact models and.
We got an announcement that Rainbow Six Siege is getting a new operator called Shadow, also known as Sam Fisher. Sam Fisher is coming to Rainbow Six Siege, and it's pissing the fuck off of Splinter Cell fans because they're still not getting a new Splinter Cell fan, but they're adding him to Rainbow Six Siege, which is Ubisoft's big golden goose right now.
Yeah. I know people really love the Sam Fisher games, but
I love Splinter Cell. I'm a big fan of like
I know it's like
stealth
very
games. I played a lot of Double Agent on my Xbox 360.
Right, okay. I know like visually impressive, like unique sort of like ways of displaying.
I did watch a quick video on how Shadow works in the new Rainbow Six Siege. It does look really interesting, like how they're changing up Rainbow Six Siege. So Shadow can he's very much like like Sam Fisher. So he shoots cameras he can shoot cameras through walls, and then he can look around on them, and he can fire a bullet that destroys one piece of equipment. Which is really cool. So he has that very much, and he has like his iconic like silenced pistol as well, which is really cool. So yeah, if you're a Rainbow Six Siege fan, check that out. That's pretty cool. Anthem's getting an update. Okay, Electronic Arts has added.
This is timestamp. Hang on.
Okay, I've already gone past it, Tony. Electronic Arts has added Steam achievements to around 25 games. So if you are a fan of Steam achievements and you've want to unlock them through the EA games that have just been brought over to Steam, you can now get those. There are over 1,000 of them. I think they are they're tied to the Origin achievements as well. So if you've played a game on Origin, your achievements will be brought over.
Okay, right.
So if you've done it on Origin, it'll be brought over to Steam, and then if you do it on Steam, it'll be brought over to Origin as well. So that's pretty cool. There's a full list of all the games. Steam achievements will also be coming to the Old Republic MMO in September as well, and they will all mirror the counterparts in game, and you'll get them automatically when the achievement for the MMO comes. EA is facing a class action lawsuit over Ultimate Team loot boxes. The case is claiming FIFA is in violation of California law.
Okay, that's interesting.
They're claiming that the publisher EA is breaching state gambling laws, and they are trying to demand a jury trial and damages of $5 million, with over 100 people on this class action lawsuit. We'll have to see. How that goes. The plaintiff Ramirez claims he was induced to spend money to purchase Ultimate Team packs, and estimates he spent in excess of $600 in FIFA and Madden since 2011. It seems like adults are predatory to this gambling enticement loot boxes, or sticker packs as they think they're called in FIFA.
Surprise mechanics, right?
The case also referenced the Belgium cases. It also references that the UK Digital Culture Media and Sports Committee advised the UK government to regulate boxes under gambling.
We haven't done anything about it, but we have lots of reports being produced about it. So,
But yeah, we'll have to see how that case goes. Australia government rules that games with microtransactions must address them in the box art. We can see this on the front covers of physical video game media with games submitted in May this year onwards. So we can already see this on the Marvel Avengers image that's going to come out this year. So science fiction, violence, online interactivity, and in-game purchases. This will be on every box now in Australia, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty nice.
We got a brand new NVIDIA driver for Microsoft Flight Simulator, Tony. The new Microsoft Flight Simulator game-ready driver. And I thought it was funny to point out that apparently on the patch notes for this, the one fix I picked out was that apparently there was a bug where in Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, the game crashed while you were playing in a water level. And this bug is now fixed. So thank you, NVIDIA, for fixing this bug. If you don't, I don't know if you know about Among Us at all, Tony, because this game is like one of the most popular games on Twitch right now. It's basically like a werewolves kind of game where two of you are like imposters, and then you go on a ship and two people have to kill people and sabotage, and the other people have to figure it out. It's like what's that game called?
Video Game Donkey's done this a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think so. But they basically announced this game's got hugely popular. I think like Among Us and Fall Guys are two of the most popular games on Twitch, at least. I don't want to say like Steam, because I feel like sometimes when I watch something a lot on stream, I assume it's popular outside of the Twitch universe, but I understand that not everything that's popular on stream is also popular everywhere, sort of thing.
And vice versa.
I know Fall Guys is definitely fucking huge, so I can say that one. But I haven't played Among Us, so I don't. It's one of those. The problem with Among Us is one of those games where you have to get like at least. I feel like at least like 6 people to buy it as well. Like you have to purchase this game, and then like
group of friends.
You have to get a group of friends to all buy this, and then you'd have to get them like all in a Discord call, and then. Like you wouldn't, I feel like you wouldn't be able to play this by yourself, sort of thing. Like it's one of those games where you'd have to purchase it with a bunch of other people, sort of thing. But basically, they've announced that a second game is coming. So if you're a fan of this game, there will be a second game, I assume, with a lot more content than the thing. And if you are someone who's already started playing Among Us, you will get a discount.
They said they'll keep the servers up for as long as there's people playing, which is pretty cool. They're not going to shut down the servers for the first game anytime soon, but we'll have to see if they actually stick to that.
What's this? Keep Among Us to mobile free, but with removable ads. Are they making a mobile version of Among Us? Actually,
apparently Among Us. Yeah, in this article, it sounds like Among Us 1 was made for mobile first, then ported to PC. But I'm not sure that just implied or.
I'm looking at the App Store now. I honestly don't know that much about Among Us because I've only just seen it on Twitch recently. But it seems like Among Us was a mobile app first, and it was free with ads, and then it got very popular on the App Store, and then they moved it over to PC on Steam and charged for it, and then it seems like it did so well that they're going to charge for the second one as well. And then they understand that nobody buys games on the mobile market, so they'll have it on mobile, free to play, but with ads. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I think on mobile market, ads then you can pay for it is actually a pretty good model.
Path of Exile is coming to macOS. That is 50 minutes, end of quick news. That was way too slow, so we'll carry on. Huge
to be fair, we saw quick news at half an hour in, so
okay. Huge news, Tony. There's an update coming to Left 4 Dead 2. This is insane.
Oh my god. Is it blinking?
Out of nowhere.
It's some blinking animations.
Out of absolute nowhere, we got a random update to Left 4 Dead. And it's insane.
Is it a big one?
So we don't know that much about it, but it's coming soon, The Last Stand. So if you don't know, The Last Stand is a survival map that exists on Left 4 Dead 1. But but it's one of the only maps on Left 4 Dead 1 that wasn't ported over to Left 4 Dead 2. Left 4 Dead 1 The Last Stand was a free DLC for the Xbox and Steam version, and you were at a lighthouse and you basically have to fight off a bunch of waves of enemies inside a house and try and survive for as long as possible. But recently they said that there's an update coming with this. So it's not just Valve either. It's not just Valve either. So they've said The Last Stand is an update from Left 4 Dead 2 created by the community. For the community.
Oh.
Additional details will be coming soon. Until then, check out the teaser trailer and prepare to make your last stand. So they're calling this an update, and they're calling it the Last Stand update. So immediately I'm thinking they're at least going to port over the Last Stand from Left 4 Dead 1 to Left 4 Dead 2. But they also released a custom trailer on some guy's YouTube channel. If I can grab that, because I was like, at the first I wasn't sure if like the validity of this was even real, but it's the official Left 4 Dead blog, and from everything looking at sources and stuff, this is actually Valve doing this sort of thing.
Right.
But there's a guy called Jays who's uploaded the teaser trailer to his YouTube channel, and it seems like he's a Left 4 Dead 2 map creator / modder. It seems like a lot of the update is actually being created by members of the Left 4 Dead community rather than Valve themselves. And this is really interesting because they've done this before with TF2. They've had community updates from TF2. Obviously, they've done lots of community content from I don't know if you know how the workshop works for TF2.
Not particularly.
So the way the TF2 workshop works is people create their own custom hats and cosmetics, and then people vote on them whether they like them or not. And then if a cosmetic gets enough votes, it gets sent to Valve, and then they decide if they want to add it to the game. And if it gets added to the game, then Valve gives them a cut of all the purchases of that item. That's how they've done it with TF2 for a long time. Left 4 Dead 2 doesn't have any cosmetics in it at all. They've of course had the workshop support for custom maps for a very long time. So obviously that's been in the game. My hope for this update is at least getting ported over the survival map. I would really like to see a custom community-based campaign leading up to The Last Stand. That would be great. They've done this. They've done something like this before, where I would like something like The Sacrifice. If you don't know what The Sacrifice is, this was one of the final campaigns for Left 4 Dead. And basically what happened was you would go into this bridge and you would go over and you would have to fill these... there was objectives where you have to fill these generators full of gas, and then towards the end of the mission, one of you would have to sacrifice yourself to complete the mission, sort of thing, which is really cool. So if they could do something like that for The Last Stand, that would be really cool. Or if they just wanted to have a campaign that led into the survival wave, similar to like the ending of Halo Reach, where it's like you can objective survive sort of thing, that would be really cool. I was talking about how TF2's done this before. So the Invasion update was a community created update. TF2 have done community created updates before, and it seems Valve is open to this, but I think it was after the Invasion update they kind of shied away from doing it. I'm not 100% sure why. I mean, communication from Valve is incredibly sparse. Like they just said they're releasing a Left 4 Dead 2 update on the Left 4 Dead blog and some random guy's YouTube channel. I mean, the communication from... I don't want to be like, oh, this guy's a random, but I don't think many people know, like... I think most of the people who play Left 4 Dead don't really know the people inside the Left 4 Dead modding scene, so...
Yeah.
It does seem a bit, like, out of the blue. Like, people have been asking for community-backed TF2 content for years. Like, they've wanted... Because basically the TF2 team is like is literally like two people at this point. Like, people move from team to team at Valve. They have like level floor kind of management where people can move to whatever project they're interested in, right? But the updates for TF2 are incredibly sparse. Like the last big update we got was Jungle Inferno, where we had added the pyro items and the contracts for the pyro. But now we know every single TF2 update that's coming out. We know that we're going to get a Halloween update, which will refresh the contracts so you can complete them again. We'll get the Smithmas update where you can refresh your Smithmas contracts. And it is very formulaic, and it's basically just like they push a button and they continue the game running sort of thing. But people have wanted to maybe Valve work directly with big community members and then have them develop their own updates, ship it to Valve, and then Valve ship it through the game sort of thing, where the community can kind of run the game itself. And people have been doing this third party. So there's curators.tf, which is the Valve News Network one. There is TF2 Classic, which I have the Tangerine video on. That's a completely separate mod for the game, where they're creating their own.
That video's out now, right?
Sorry?
That video's out now, right?
Yeah, that video's out.
Yeah.
It's been out for a while. Where they're creating their own custom weapons for the game to add more gameplay to the game and cut back on some of the stuff Valve did. There's, of course, Open Fortress, which is another TF2 kind of based kind of mod, where Open Fortress is more going for like the Quake Arena kind of gameplay that I was talking about earlier. So the TF2 community and of course like the Left 4 Dead community, I've played tons of Left 4 Dead 2 custom maps. So there's a real want and need for custom content to Valve's older titles that there really isn't the development team for. But if Valve are willing to hand more of the power and the reins to the community, I believe that the community can help add content to these games and keep them running and keep them profitable. Especially like the market for TF2 is really important to Valve, because the TF2 economy directly links to the CSGO economy, and the Dota economy, which is huge for Valve, because of the way that people understand that their virtual investments. Well, I guess they're not investments because their virtual purchases are worth something to them because the service keeps running. So the second TF2 shut down and the people realized that all those hats they spent money on weren't worth anything, that would make a huge knock-on effect to the virtual economy for CSGO, for Dota. So Valve has to keep TF2 running, and I think people eventually are just going to get bored. Like, it still like has that dedicated hardcore community. I always joke that TF2 is a dead game that never dies. But eventually, like, people want custom community-created content. They're making it themselves, and if Valve were to help them, that would be great. And if, it seems like they're doing this for Left 4 Dead as well. So, like how I was talking about a Left 4 Dead update, and I started talking about TF2 for like 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, basically the same game.
Valve has added in their partner FAQ a new rule that prevents devs from using their platform to promote non-Steam versions. We've seen this a lot, especially stuff like huge controversy with the Metro Exodus, where it was announced people pre-purchased it on Steam, had massive advertisement on the Steam storefront, and then very quickly was removed and moved to the Epic Games platform. So whether Steam would be willing to commit to outright banning a game from the platform if it did something similar to what Metro Exodus did, that would be big. Or whether this is just trying to dissuade people from doing what Metro Exodus did, we'll have to see. Like, the proof is in the actions rather than the words.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see with that. That is definitely a big move against people using Steam to promote their platform before they move over to another platform, or if they choose to cross-release between Steam and Epic. I think this is kind of shitty, though. Like, I think everyone understands this move is to try and dissuade the Epic move, but I also think it hurts people like GOG and people.
It hurts competition as well in a way.
I mean, it's Valve's platform; they can do whatever the hell they want on their platform. But,
for sure. But I'm also my own opinion, and I can then have my own opinion on Valve however I want. So
Yeah, true. But I think that I don't think this is like a huge thing unless Valve
no.
uses it to like cut people off who abuse Valve's storefront as an advertisement for the Epic Games Store sort
Yeah,
of thing.
I'm more yeah. I'm hoping like it is aimed specifically at Epic and not like like Humble and other smaller
Okay,
like
move
that.
on to Fall Guys. Fall Guys is the most popular game in the world right now. I've been playing tons of it. I started playing it a couple days ago with my friend. Gave into the peer pressure to play Fall Guys. The game's fucking amazing. I've got like 5 wins on it, and I'm still like grinding it every time I can because I find it so fun to play. Um,
Are you waiting for like new maps and things? Like are they releasing anything new? I don't really know
so
much
at
about you guys
Gamescom,
with
they
them.
just released a season 2 trailer.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're going to add a bunch. So I can talk about this after all the Fall Guys stuff and move it up from next week.
Yeah.
Um, I'll just grab it now. We can talk about Fall Guys season 2 because that was announced at Gamescom, and I was going to save that, but I'm going to be talking about Fall Guys for a bit. So let's just talk about
Okay.
season 2.
This is the Fall Guys segment.
This is get the Fall Guys timestamp ready, Tony.
It's already in, but I'm just saying we are an hour in, so if we
Yeah.
saw it's half an hour, I'm just saying.
Well, GG.
With the Fall Guys podcast, no.
So we're going to see Joe, the lead designer of Fall Guys.
Oh.
And he's showing off season. So season 2 is going to be. We're on season 1 of the Battle Pass this season. I think the Battle Pass is completely free to the game because, of course, you have to pay money to purchase the game. But season 2 will feature knights. So the theme is going to be like wizards and knight skins and dragon skins. And then there's going to be a bunch of medieval themed maps. So there will be, including a new mechanic where you have to like pull a like box in order to jump up, and you're going to have to try and do that while playing against other people, which is going to be interesting. Some of the maps look like they're reskins of previous maps, and then some of them look like completely new game modes, such as the box game mode that we're seeing right now. And of course, the new costumes. Like I said, like this game is going to live and die on its updates because of the nature of the game and the replayability factor. It's very much that Zoomer Fortnite market, and Fortnite has an update every like 2 weeks, I think. So in order to keep up with like the shifting player base sort of thing, you're gonna have to like just keep updating the game. And I believe this is coming out next season, season 2, and I believe the current season ends in a month. So it seems like we might be getting an update every month or couple of months. So that's a pretty good schedule for a game of this size. I know that
I'd say so.
I think this is a smaller team, and that they kind of got
say
like
as well,
massively flooded with all the people coming, and the servers were getting hit like crazy.
I think each game will have its own like cycle, where it's like we want new content sort of thing. Like I think it's not like every game needs like 2 weeks, like Fortnite. I think different audiences want different things at different times.
So I've got some images of the individual maps. So this is the box one, which we saw from the Gamescom. Looks really cool. I'm really interested to play a new game mode. Then, of course, there's a brand new Total Wipeout kind of course, which looks really fun. I don't know how to use this. Oh, there we go. So this was really fun. I wonder. I feel like the spikes aren't going to kill you because of course Fall Guys is a very family friendly game, but it's interesting that they.
Yeah.
I think the spikes are more for the medieval theme, and they're just going to like push you and block you sort of thing. But I think it's interesting that they had like these like spiky things. This map looks really fun. So it looks like we'll be getting 2 new game modes sort of thing. I would call like a new obstacle course a new game mode, and then I would call the moving blocks a new game mode. And then this map looks like it's the egg grabbing game mode, but on a different map, so that will change up the play style. And then this is the hoop game mode, but on a different map, sort of thing. And it looks like it also has the movable block feature where you can move ramps around by picking them up. So that looks really interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But going back to Fall Guys, They put out an apology recently for their actions against scammers. So what they did was they removed a bunch of key resellers' keys who were abusing regional pricing to buy the key really cheaply because their regional pricing is very low, and then resell the key for a huge profit to a different region, sort of thing, in order to make a big profit. But one thing that they did when they revoked all of these scammers and abusers' keys is they accidentally removed some legitimate keys from people who were in those regions and legitimately bought those keys. I think it was Argentina was the country that this was being abused in. So a lot of like players in Argentina who'd legitimately bought their keys fell system to this. So they put out an apology, and they said send an email to their support if you've been hit by this. So hopefully that gets resolved. Next. Valve itself has... SteamDB now shows Valve's regional pricings. Their regional suggested pricing. So you can see if the price you're getting is close to the one Valve is suggesting is good for the current climate of the economy, and seeing if games are like ripping you off, sort of thing. So yeah, if you go to the SteamDB website, you can see if Valve's suggested price is good for that game or not, and see like which developers and publishers are actually taking this into account and which ones are like maybe abusing the kind of converted prices to not give certain countries a fair price for the game, sort of thing. So that's pretty interesting to see. Fall Guys on Twitter announced they've removed family sharing on Steam to combat hackers. So what they said was people were family sharing Steam Guys to another Steam account, hacking on that account, and then when that account got banned, they would family share to a new account, and then this cycle continued like this. Gary Newman pointed out that you can get the owner's Steam ID with authentication tickets, so you could ban both accounts. Now, if you don't know, Gary Newman is, of course, the creator of Gary's Modern Rust, so he's a very well-established developer, so he would know a lot about developing games on Steam and using the Steam system. So I just put devil's advocate. People might say, as devil's advocate, Fall Guys is removing family sharing to get more people to buy the game. But I believe realistically, they are a small dev team who probably didn't know about this feature, and they're already overwhelmed by the huge player base. We know this because they basically, when the game was released, they had a giant message saying, hey, we're going to have server outages. We did not expect this many people. If you don't know, Fall Guys is the most downloaded PlayStation Plus game of all time on a global basis.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
It's crazy how many people are playing Fall Guys. Of course, it being free on PS4. It has sold Mediatonic has sold 7 million units on Steam. I remember like a week ago I was saying they sold 2 million units on Steam alone, and now they've sold 7 million on Steam alone. People also, Devolver Digital pointed out that 2 years ago that Nina Struthers said that Fall Guys is going to make her rich because it's going to sell tons. So shout out to Nina Struthers from the Devolver Digital press conference at E3.
I hope she's getting her dividends.
And of course, it's a funny meme that Nina Struthers is a real person, so we'll just continue that facade.
Yeah. She's in the board of directors. So you're saying then this devil's avocado isn't true? Like you think it is just because small developer,
I
large
believe that
numbers.
Let's see how big Mediatonic is for a start. They're a British video game developer based in London. They were founded in 2005 by Brunel University students Dave Bailey and Paul Croft, releasing their first game, Snowman Salvage, in December that year. So they've been working on a couple of games. The only one I recognise is Hatful Boyfriend, which I believe Total
Oh,
Biscuit was forced to play
yeah.
back in the day by his wife Jenna,
Yeah,
which is basically a dating sim, but every character is a pigeon instead.
yeah, it's a
You want
great
to see what
game.
that looks like? This is Hatful Boyfriend. So basically, of the games they've made, this has to be like everything they've made is like pretty small indie games, and now suddenly Mediatonic is making the biggest game in the world. So
Yeah,
I think they're definitely like well out of their depths on this sort of thing right now. They've said that out of their suggested features, custom Fall Guy lobbies are on a Mediatonic's lists of things to do. They definitely said that they're looking into making custom lobbies because they understand people see that it's a game show and that people want to be the game show director and run their own game shows,
yeah.
which is pretty cool. Of course, what I would like is an anti-cheat system. I have no idea what the anti-cheat is on Fall Guys, but there's so many hackers in Fall Guys.
Like,
I would at least like a way to report people on Fall Guys in-game.
yeah. The two suggestions I have is make it so you can actually report someone, and two, surely you could add in a system in the game itself that like checks if someone's flying, like or add a max
like
speed.
Minecraft does.
Yeah, like Minecraft checks its max speed and like how long you're flying for to go. Oh, you might be cheating.
I remember like we would play modded Minecraft and you get like a glider and it's like, oh, you're hacking, you're moving too fast, and I'm like, no, I'm just playing the game.
If you don't set up, you get banned, like you get kicked. Like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm not hacking. I'm just playing modded Minecraft. God damn it, Notch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I don't understand they don't have these sort of systems. Maybe they just maybe they Joe.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought people wouldn't cheat in a children's, I was gonna say card game, children's video game.
They said that they are committed to adding crossplay, but it's not coming soon. They still need to work on allowing PC and PS4 players to play together.
Right.
I think Fall Guys is actually a PS4 exclusive right now. Yeah.
Oh, console exclusive
for PS4 through PlayStation Plus. You can't actually play this on Xbox, so that's another L for Microsoft on the Xbox, boys. Unfortunately, as much as I love Microsoft, so
it's like a crown for PlayStation.
But it won't be exclusive to Fall Guys on PC for too long if you are indeed one of our Chinese fans. Because Fall Guys is getting a mobile version in China. Chinese video game and entertainment company Bilibili is secured the rights to publish a mobile version of Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout in China. The game came out this month in August and has been a huge success. And it's obvious that if they don't make the Chinese version now, that the rip-off will come soon enough. The knockoff version will be released in China. We've seen tons of hilarious Fall Guy knockoffs already that look terrible. But yeah,
what is with this fucking notch? iPhone. Sorry, Tangerine. This is a terrible notch iPhone.
People are pointing out that Fall Guys is only available on PC and PS4, and that there's tons of fake Fall Guys on mobile stuff coming out to try and trick people into downloading the wrong stuff. So you will have to fly to China. If you want to play it on mobile, VPN. If you want to play it on mobile, it's only coming to China. So
VPN.
Yeah. If you don't know about China, basically there was a console ban in like 2007, and as a result, the Chinese market is massively PC and mobile based, and they love mobile games. So this makes a lot of sense. Well, I think that's it about Fall Guys. How did I do on time?
Only 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay. We're getting a new Dead by Daylight hit validation beta. If you don't know how this works. In Dead by Daylight, the killer is favored. They did some drawings here, which will show you how this works. So, the killer is favored. If he hits you on his screen, it will result to a hit through the server, because much like FPSs, in FPSs the shooter is always favored because it feels a lot worse to shoot someone and then them not getting shot than it is if you are You feel like you're not getting shot, but then you get shot, sort of thing. It's not a great like thing, but you have to kind of pick between one of the two. When it comes, you kind of have to have the trade-off. But what this would happen was, if you had a high latency killer, from the survivor's perspective, they could be really far away, and because they've got low latency, they're nowhere near the killer on their perspective. And then the killer with high ping, with his low latency, he could be right behind you, hitting you, and then on the server's perspective, it would come up as a hit, or it would on the server's perspective, the killer would appear as though they weren't hitting you, sort of thing.
Okay.
So the solution to this is, with the high latency killer with hit validation on, from the survivor's perspective, they're not getting hit. From the killer's perspective, they're hitting you. But then on the server's perspective, the information would be displayed that in reality, the survivor is too far away. The hit validation would come in and it would stop the hit from going through, sort of thing. But the killer would still be favored. But if they were a high latency killer and they needed to make this adjustment because of the high latency, they would stop the hit from going through, sort of thing. So that's how this beta is going to work. We'll have to see how it works. Because CBD is not the most optimized game. I know they're doing a graphics update recently, but I get terrible performance on a 2080 Super on medium graphics, so we'll have to see how this works. But hopefully, I do like the Behavior Interactive guys, so hopefully they can get this working. Let's talk about Jagex for half an hour, Tony. You want to talk about Jagex for half an hour?
Out of nowhere.
Jagex RuneScape is partnered, has signed a new Flying Wild Hog. If you don't know, they're the people who made Shadow Warrior. They're the people who made Hard Reset, if you remember that linear single-player game from like 2012, I think it was, 2011 or something, Hard Reset.
I don't really remember it, no.
Look it up, because I think you'll remember it if you just see a photo of it.
Look at it.
I think as soon as you see like... I think as soon as you see like the art for it, you'll immediately be like, oh yeah, I remember like Total Biscuit playing this game, sort of thing.
Oh yeah. I remember Total Biscuit. I never saw anything about it ever again. So
I think he enjoyed it.
Yeah, he liked it.
Yeah. So, and of course, Flying Wild Hog Studios, who made Devolverland Expo, the recent media advertising experience that we got to experience because of E3. Oh, sorry about that. So Jagex and New Flying Wild Hog are partnering to make a multi-format living game. I have no fucking idea what that means.
MMO.
Yeah, they're making 2021 is when it's coming out. It's going to be an Unreal Engine 4. It's going to have multiplayer action RPG, so MMORPG sort of thing. It's going to be a gaming experience of high adventure and explosive action, and it's going to be set in a sci-fi universe. So this is really interesting, and the reason this is really interesting is I kind of want to go into the history of Jagex publishing. So Jagex started publishing in 2018, and Jagex games other than RuneScape have been fairly heavily criticized for not doing well. So let's kind of look at some of the other games Jagex has made and published. So they made
other games?
Yeah, so they made a game called Arcanists, which was a browser-based MMO. So I think this was around 2010, 2012 maybe. But they've been trying to do this for years. Of course, their most successful browser-based MMO, RuneScape, was very popular. I know there was a core fan base for this game, but they shut it down eventually. Do you remember Ace of Spades? This game was made by Jagex. The developer Jagex Limited made this game. They went for this...
Minecraft with guns, you put.
Yeah, they made this 2012 building FPS game. That was...
It's so shit.
It was quite popular, but I don't think it was like particularly good, sort of thing.
No.
Like the idea was like Minecraft with guns, and then in 2015 they were like, that didn't work out too well. Let's do Minecraft with guns.
Wait, this is them again.
They published Block and Load,
Why?
the 2015
Both
building
these games
FPS
my
game.
ignored list.
Well, GG then. This was made by Toadman Interactive, but this was published by Jagex. This was before their big publishing push in 2018. I believe they had a hand in helping make this game. So it's like interesting looking like their track record with publishing and making games. They also made a Transformers game. Did you know this?
No, it looks bad.
Transformers Universe was a I believe it was a mobile game. I'll have to look this up. Let me have a look. Was it a mobile game? It was in conjunction with Hasbro Jagex. It was a multiplayer online battle arena. The game went into closed beta on March 12th, 2014, and then to open beta in 2014. What platforms was it on? Oh, it was on Windows. I think it was a PC. I'm thinking of mobile games looking like this too early. I think the only mobile game that looked like this was the Epic Games one, the Infinity Blade one, or whatever it's called. Yeah. But this is like a Transformers game I'd never heard of, but apparently Jagex made it. And I just wanted to point out all these games that you like. The first two are obviously the most popular ones. But then there's like other stuff that Jagex had a hand in creating and developing, and it's got like a very rocky, jagged one. Do you remember Chronicles?
Yeah, I do actually.
RuneScape Legends. RuneScape made a card game.
Apparently it's dead, according to the comments on this video.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
I think they shut it down, sort of thing.
Yeah, I remember. The reason why I remember this, Joe, is that I remember watching this video and going to Michael, "What the hell is this? Would you play this?"
I believe it was on Steam for a bit in like 2015, and then it got shut down. As of May 2018, it was announced the game would be removed due to multiple technical issues combined with a dwindling player base. The servers for the game remained open until the 6th of August, at which point they shut down.
I like how YouTube thinks that this game that Tobiscuit is playing is called RuneScape from 2001. So I mean,
well, that's the only game they've got to go on now.
Yeah, pretty much.
So let's talk about one final game that Jagex was going to make, Stellar Dawn. Now, Stellar Dawn was never actually made. It was a teased, announced that the Jagex was going to make a sci-fi browser-based MMO RPG, which we never got. So my question, like going through all of the history of Jagex games, is this new game from Jagex and Flying Wild Hog the Stellar Dawn game we never got?
Yeah, maybe.
We know very little about this game. I tried to look for gameplay of this game, and all I could find was RuneScape characters shooting guns, and I legit couldn't tell if that was real development footage or someone taking the piss. So I honestly couldn't tell you. Like, there's very little information about this game, other than there's very
Jagex has high standards after all.
Yeah. There's such like little known about Stellar Dawn that it's hard to say like what the game was actually going to look like apart from the concept art. The concept art reminds me of Guild Wars 2 in a lot of ways, actually, like a sci-fi version of that. Like the art style
in a way,
is very much like that, yeah.
It hasn't quite got the colouring to it, but like very similar in a lot of ways, yeah.
My question to you, Tony, is Jagex, they don't have a very good track record with making games or publishing games.
No, they're a really bad company.
But
they're a really bad
do you think that New Flying Wild Hog, who literally just made a RPG called Shadow Warrior 2, which I have very mixed feelings about, can make a good browser-based sci-fi MMORPG? What do you think?
We'll see.
We'll see.
Who has the most control, I guess.
If we get an announcement from Flying Wild Hog for a new sci-fi game called Stellar Dawn, you heard it here first. Scoop, breaking news. I've cracked the case. I've solved the mystery. I didn't know this game existed until I even looked into Jagex's publishing history. So we'll have to see about that. Microsoft Flight Simulator has been in some hot water recently because the preload for the game was 90 gigabytes too small. So Steam would download a 500 megabyte launcher, and then you had to download the rest once you had launched the game. So you would launch the game, you would be inside of Microsoft Flight Simulator on Steam, and you had to run the game to get it to download the rest, which would take you over the 2-hour refund window. Because, of course, most people don't have an internet connection that can download 90 gigabytes in under 2 hours. So this was a huge controversy, a lot of concern about this. Valve have said the time it takes to download Microsoft Flight Simulator won't affect refund requests. So that's definitely a good thing that we've learned from this. Some people were saying, who the fuck buys Microsoft Flight Simulator, plays it for 2 hours and goes, yeah, that's not for me. Sort of thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people who are either Flight Simulator enthusiasts would get this game and enjoy it for a long time, or if they're not, they would know not to purchase this game. But I still think the refund policy is
before you buy it.
I feel like the only person I can think of is Andy, who says, "Oh, I kind of want to play Microsoft Flight Simulator," but I feel like if he played it for 2 hours or under, he would know then if it was the game for him. And then he could. Like, I think there definitely is people who would legit use a 2-hour window to play the game and then decide if they were going to actually continue their purchase or refund it based on whether they enjoyed the game or not.
What they need is a demo that's really small, and you can get an insight whether you want to play the game or not. No demos.
Demos don't exist, Tony. What the fuck?
Yeah, too expensive. You can't just pull some part of the game.
If you made a demo of the game, Tony, people would just play the demo over and over again, and they'd never purchase the game.
That's true. It would
that's an actual real statement I'm saying.
I said real statement as well. Like, it's too expensive to make. I don't think that's true.
These are real statements from game publishers and developers. If you make a demo for a game, they would just play it over and over again, and they'd never purchase the full game. Like, give me a fucking break with that shit.
There's so many excuses with demos.
My
favorite one is this is like a small developer, I think. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Like, they added that game to their wish list. They played the demo and then removed it from their wish list. And like, yes,
they didn't enjoy the demo.
Play the game. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. What the hell are you talking about?
That's a customer you lost because your game wasn't good enough.
Good.
Or is a customer you lost because that game wasn't for them, and in that case, they were a person who was never going to play your game anyway. Because if they did,
had to refund
and they purchased it, they would just refund it.
Yeah. So I've heard a lot of shit about demos. Yeah. As someone who buys games from demos, like I really,
I've literally purchased games because of demos. I mean, we've talked about games like.
Well, I bought Hellraise because of the demo. We played on Spotlight, so
yeah. Like I talked about Book of Demons personally. Yuka's Island Express. I played the demo for that, and then went on to purchase the game. I've played so many demos, and I've gone. I really enjoyed the demo, and I now want to play the full game.
Book of Demons, you didn't even think you would like, but then you decided to play the demo anyway. I went, this is actually really good.
That's why it's a really important example. I didn't think I would enjoy the game, but based on a review who said play the demo and see if the game's for you. Yeah. I went on to play the demo and I found I enjoyed the game. So the demo actually made me go from skipping past the game in my queue to fully purchasing the game. So maybe demos aren't such an evil that video game publishers and developers would like you to believe.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can say it's. I don't know. Like, I don't see any negatives really, other than the development.
We're gonna keep rolling.
Time for it. Keep going.
Flight sticks are actually selling out after the release of Microsoft Flight Simulator. None of Amazon's best-selling sticks are currently available to buy new. It seems
how expensive are they?
I don't know. I think I had a joystick when I was a kid, because my dad and my brother were huge into my dad and my brother used to play tons of like flight simulators and train simulators and stuff like that. But I
Right.
never enjoyed
I've
the
heard of,
games. Like I
it
always
seems to be anywhere from £20 to like £200.
But
Like really
for
good
me
ones.
personally, I'm a huge gameplay person. Like
Yeah.
I've expressed my opinion on walking simulators, and this is a game where a lot of the gameplay comes from the first takeoff, and then a lot of the game is just enjoying the environment and sitting in the cockpit sort of thing. Less so than a train simulate. Like a train simulator obviously has
Yeah.
a little less. Like obviously you're flying a plane in the sky, so there's going to be like stuff to do. And obviously, I watched the ACG video on this, and he said there's an optional mode you can turn on where it'll give you like a random malfunction that you'll have to deal with while you're in the sky, which is really interesting.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So if you like doing, if you want more gameplay, you can add more gameplay. I think, but I think
I think
a lot of value of the game is like the AI scaling of Bing maps. That means you can go and fly over your house or something sort of thing.
yeah, I think as well, like there's like a lot of people that really like planes or really like trains or really like cars. They just want to like have like the most realistic simulation of that. And, like they just like it so much that they can just like they don't need the extra gameplay. Like it's like the fun is in
Well,
doing
according to
it, just being there.
Microsoft, Flight Simulator is expected to generate 2.6 billion in
Oh
PC
my god.
hardware sales.
Jesus
Oh, sorry,
Christ.
not according to Microsoft. According to JPR research firm, um, they estimate that 2.6 billion will be made in hardware sales in the next 3 years because of people wanting to play Microsoft Flight Simulator. And going back to your point, flight sim gear is really fucking expensive.
Yeah.
People spend millions on building rigs of like realistic plane cockpits inside their houses. Like I've
To
seen
be
that
fair,
before.
that's cheaper than a plane.
Yeah, obviously.
Planes are ridiculously expensive.
Sometimes people go like the route of people buy these big things and then they like rent them out and then people can come and play them for like a day. You run it like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
arcade sort of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, these are things like actual like rumble, not rumble, but like actually like have like the accelerometer sort of in seats sort of stuff as well. Like they're really
Okay,
expensive.
let's talk about VR and Facebook. So for the longest
Evil
time,
Facebook.
I've been recommending the Oculus Quest because I believe it is all around the best VR headset for the price, for what you're
Yeah.
getting, the inside-out tracking, the fact that you can play it anywhere. But recently, Facebook has been going like way heavier and integrating itself into Oculus. You can
Yeah.
now no longer use the Oculus Store unless you have a Facebook account. You have to link a Facebook account to your Oculus VR headset. So from October 2020, October will require anyone using an Oculus device to log in via Facebook. It's no longer possible to sign up with a separate Oculus ID. And in 2023, it will end support for people who currently don't have a Facebook account. So the people who do have an Oculus account without a Facebook account are grandfathered in for 3 years, and then they're cut off, and you're forced to play Candy Crush with your grandma. Do you play Candy Crush on Farmville with your grandma on Facebook? I don't know. I deactivated my Facebook.
Are you asking me?
I deactivated my Facebook account, and Tony hasn't logged into his Facebook account in like 10 years. So who knows?
I barely even had the Facebook account when I did have it. Like I only used it for like 3 years. And I say use it lightly. Like I had it for 3 years. And I was able to log into it. For
I
3
think what will
years.
happen is people who want to make an Oculus account, either this doesn't bother them and they'll just log in with their Facebook account, or they'll just make a dummy Facebook account, is what I guess. Like a Facebook account
It's still
that's
really
not
annoying,
friends
though.
with anyone. Yeah,
I
it's
don't trust
annoying that I
Facebook with my
already have an
data.
Oculus account and now I'm going to be forced to link it with a Facebook account in the next couple of years. So this shit's really annoying. And of course, if you don't know, Facebook Horizons is Facebook's like Rec Room style game where it's a social VR platform. So you have like a virtual avatar, and it's going to be very popular because anyone who has Facebook, obviously you can be like, hey, you got Facebook, come and or like Oculus is a very popular platform because it's very consumer friendly, like the pricing and the accessibility, which would make this game very big for people who like playing VR with people who can't necessarily build a gaming PC and buy an Index and spend thousands of pounds on that sort of thing. But what they're doing with this is Facebook Horizon moderators can actually observe people invisibly in real time to spot rule violations, because there is public rooms and private rooms. Apparently, you can have someone spying on you from Facebook. If you don't know, Facebook is already spying on you, but now they can do it in VR.
I feel like, can I just point out though, like, why do you need to look from their perspective though? Why can't you just see the whole lobby?
So
like,
the next point is all users in Horizon are involuntarily recording each other. The last few minutes of everything that users see and hear is recorded on a rolling basis. Facebook says this recording is stored in the headset itself. I would be very surprised if it didn't already go directly to Facebook. But what they said is, if a user reports another user, that recording will then be sent to Facebook to check for the rule violation. The company says that the recording will be deleted once the report is concluded.
Why don't they just do what everyone else does and just delete the final thing if you don't report anyone? Like, Windows like Game Bar has the system where it records everything, but doesn't like really store it properly if you don't actually do anything with the saves. Like Xbox as well. Is that I don't understand why we can't just have that sort of system. I feel like Facebook just can't be trusted at this point. Like, they don't seem to be able to do anything right. Yeah. Remember when we first talked about Oculus like being bought by Facebook, and we're like, well, it's going to be okay because Facebook won't touch it because they don't normally touch things, and they started touching it.
Why there's even a famous Reddit post by Oculus's one of Oculus founders, Lucky Palmer, where he literally says, I sold Oculus to Facebook, but I promise you now, you will never have to have a Facebook account to log into Oculus. And what I'm going to say is, that was very optimistic thinking, because now you do. Because obviously you do. Because Facebook wants to homogenize everything. To
be fair, back in the day, they didn't want to homogenize everything, but they've been like really wanting to integrate everything.
Facebook wants to be the iOS of social media platforms. That's like,
but they're shit.
They're like MO right now. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. 505 Games have put out an explanation on their Control Ultimate upgrade. They said, to bring Control to next generation consoles in any form, we had to make some difficult decisions, and those came in the form of creating the simplified Control Ultimate Edition product plan we have today. We can't offer an upgrade to everyone, and leaving any one group out feels unfair. So from what I'm reading from this, what they're saying is... Why can't it to
everyone, sorry?
What they're saying in this statement, my understanding is they're saying we can't give it to everyone, but if we give it to some, it's unfair, so we'll just give it to no one. Which is the stupidest fucking thing to say. I mean...
But why can't they give it to everyone?
Oh, I don't know.
Genuinely, why can't they just give it to everyone?
What they're trying to say, if they want to do the next generation upgrade, they have to change... They have to create the package of the game into one simplified game to get the upgrade to work. That's probably a limitation of how the Microsoft Store and the Xbox Store works.
That's fine.
The PlayStation Store works, which is fine.
But they could just go. They could just go on their database.
The excuse after that point is complete bullshit. Like 100%.
Yeah, but even with that excuse of like, I understand, like oh, it's like a separate entity, a separate executable. That's fine, but you're not going to be running that executable on the new console, are you? Like, it's going to be a whole new save file, a whole new executable, and a whole new piece of hardware. All they have to do is look in their database and go, oh, these people own all of the DLC. They're eligible for the free upgrade.
Obviously, they could have made it so that people with the season pass got this upgrade.
Yes,
because it was exactly the same thing.
Yes,
but they're not going to.
No,
because fuck you. We would lose money.
They're fucking awful.
Yeah. Gotta say, I'm very unhappy about the way 505 Games is handling this, but
it's such a shit excuse. Just upgrade people with a season pass. They paid you the most money.
okay.
I understand not giving it to people who just own the old base game and not the upgraded one. Like, that's fair enough. I can understand that because the upgraded version has everything in it. Fine.
We've got to move on, Tony. We've got to move on.
Moving on. I'm just very angry about this for some reason.
Batman news. Gotham Knights has been revealed. We've got two brand new Batman universe games coming out now. So, because this is going to get confusing, so try and stay with me. Batman Knights is set in a universe where Batman is dead. Spoiler alerts, that happens at the start of the trailer, so obviously
that's not a
spoiler. It's an open world Batman game. And you're going to play as Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Robin, I believe, are the 4 playable characters.
Jim's saying called the Red Robin's something different, but I'm not sure. He's read the comics,
maybe
it's
it's
different names.
I know a little bit about Batman characters and stuff, but I'm not like I don't read the comics. Not recently. I read them when I was a kid. I know a little bit.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I used to get the annuals. I don't know if you know about like.
Okay.
The comic book annuals would get like a bunch of the big stories and put them into one book, which you could buy. I used to get that for Christmas, sort of thing, because I was a huge Batman fan when I was a kid. I had like a box full of Batman figures, and my favorite was Batman from the Future because I was like, oh, that's the cool one. Batman from the Future.
He's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway. So it seems like this game is going to be a open world RPG system. And it's going. But what I don't understand is if you're going to add these arbitrary RPG mechanics, why are you also adding level scaling? What becomes the point of the RPG system if there is level scaling? I don't know how you feel about level scaling.
Well,
in video games.
In my opinion, the only way to do level scaling is Guild Wars scaling, where you level yourself down so you can play with lower levels. I was going to talk about Guild Wars 2, where I think it's a good idea to scale people down so they can play with their friends, but I feel like scaling up is weird.
Scaling up, it's definitely weird. And
this scaling system is technically scaling up to some extent in reverse. And I just see, Skyrim does the same thing, and I think it's pointless in Skyrim compared to Oblivion as well. So I don't like scaling. Like, there's no point. Like, I understand, like,
always put Renekton,
scaling between say this is like pure RPG here. Like, say, this is like a dungeon for level 15 to 20. Like, fine, scale between those levels, but like scaling between level 0 to level 60, like that's just really weird to me. It's like, what's the point?
So we know this is going to be 2-player co-op. It is going to be a single-player story-focused game mostly with the co-op.
There's 4 characters though.
Yeah, so I believe from what I understood of the trailer, I believe you play different parts of the stories, different characters. I might be wrong. This is just a guess. This is just a guess.
I'm so confused.
Yeah. I don't know if different characters have different skill sets and stuff. Obviously,
I think
it's literally just been announced. So
from what I could see from the trailer, they did actually have different.
One of the big things they showed from the trailer was that you could play this through stealth as well, which was a huge thing of the Gotham Batman games, like Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, and stuff. That's
more the Robin place are, right? Robin seems to be the more stealthy one, at least from what I saw. Or is he more the combat
you can play full stealth in all of the Arkham games.
No, I'm just thinking in this one, in the trailer we saw.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to show off the difference between stealth and going full-out aggression sort of thing. I think that was the idea. So the dev has actually come out and confirmed that stuff like the health bars, the damage numbers can be turned on and off. Okay. But I think they'll still be there. I think they'll just be invisible.
Yeah, that's true for every game, though. Even the old Arkham Knights.
But I feel like
is the same, though. And I don't agree. Okay, this is off. But you said the gameplay trailer. You felt that the boss was bullet spongy. I don't agree at all. Now that I've actually watched it.
No, I felt like you were just hitting a lot of characters over and over again, and you were just getting these small numbers, and it was like...
but but the time to kill for all of those enemies like very, very similar to Arkham City and Arkham Knight. Well, Arkham Knight, sorry,
No,
Arkham.
the Arkham games, it was very much about combos. This is completely
Yeah,
different.
there were still combos that did more damage.
It was very much like Arkham City and Arkham Asylum were like a dance, and this is more like how do I describe a dance versus a that was a dance. That was very much rhythm, right? And this is very much more about this is more like a button mash. It's like do. You're just hitting the same thing over and over again, sort of thing.
Yeah, but to me the animations were very. We don't actually know if it was the same button hitting over again. Well, I don't know. It seemed very similar.
The gameplay for this, it just looks like it looks more like a hack and slash than if like the Arkham games are like a Dark Souls kind of game. This looks more like a hack and slash sort of thing. It's like maybe a comparison. But like the gameplay for the Arkham Asylum, the Arkham City it was very much about if you would try and use stealth as much as possible because when you got a huge group of people on you, Batman wasn't the strongest against them, and he would have to use clever counter tactics. He would get the spider sense or the Batman sense, I guess you would call it, and you would counter. And then someone else would hit you, and you counter them, and it was combo. And
I was still doing different combos in this game, pretty sure as well. It wasn't just like the same animation. It wasn't just the same.
You would have to use like stealth and distractions against people with guns.
In this game, there are more different play styles though, so I feel like you can't just copy the old system.
But yeah, I'm saying it's very different. Sort of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm saying the actual combat seem to be very similar to when you're actually in combat.
I've got a huge problem with how they showed off Mr. Freeze.
Why? Like his character, you mean?
Yeah, his characteristic.
He's like
Dr.
just
Freeze,
being evil.
Mr. Freeze. So the way for me, Mr. Freeze is one of my favorite Batman villains of all time.
He's really cool.
He's more like an anti-hero in a lot of the stories, because of course, if you don't know about Mr. Freeze, he is trying to, he's usually trying to rob banks, I think, usually, or he's trying to get. He's trying to get money to do more scientific experiments in order to save his wife, who has a terminal illness, and he's cryogenically frozen her, and he is trying to use the time that she is frozen to find a cure so she doesn't have to die, his wife Nora. And it's very like a very good story where it's like a lot of the things he does are very like evil, but it's for good reason. It's like you start to ask that question: can a good person do evil things for the right reason, sort of thing? But in this game, they're playing it up like, he's gone insane and he just loves ice. Let's have him just freeze shit for no reason. Yeah, and I'm like, that completely betrays the character. Like,
to be fair, a little bit, I have seen episodes of the Batman where he does just for some reason freeze the whole city. I don't remember why he was doing that though. So
I think the idea is like some of the ideas is like the suit he's wearing is like messing with his brain and stuff, which I can understand. Like a little bit, like if you have a little bit of like mental issues going on, like where like
Sam Raimi's.
Yeah, Dr. Ock is kind of like Mr. Freeze in a lot of ways.
He just wants
Sam Raimi films. Yeah, he's all about science and research, and then he's like, well, if I have to rob a bank to get this money to complete my research, I'll do that sort of thing.
Yeah. And take people hostage as well.
Yeah, like what's her name? Peter Parker's grandmother. It's like, oh, you brute, and then she like throws coins at him or something, I believe.
Aunt May. Or great Aunt May. Aunt May.
Well, Aunt May in the new Spider-Man's is like his aunt, and then in the fucking Sam Raimi film, she's like a grandmother.
Great. So. Yeah. It's a bit weird.
Anyway.
I was saying, like, in Batman Arkham City, like, we actually get to see this anti-hero version of Mr. Freeze.
So, you may be thinking, is Gotham Knights a continuation of the Arkham Games universe? No, Gotham Knights is not set in the Arkham Games universe. Gotham's Knight is not a live service game and can be played offline, is what they have said.
Okay.
And yeah, but this was made by the people who made Arkham Origins,
Oh,
and
yeah, I
also
heard
a
about that.
random Lego MMO in 2013 called Legends of Chimera, which was a thing that exists, I guess.
Okay. Hmm.
This is another rabbit hole I went down while researching
Yeah.
what games that the Gotham Knights developers had made.
Didn't because you did you what? Yeah, you because you got to the end because Mr. Freeze was right at the end of this
Yeah,
gameplay trailer. I found that the
go on.
I don't know, so the voice acting, I guess, it's like really cringy. Like what Batgirl, was it Robin in the gameplay trailer? Or was it
Yeah, one of the
someone else? I can't
Robins.
remember. It just felt like really cringy. I was like,
The thing you have to understand about
okay.
Robin as a character is there's multiple Robins, sort of thing. And like in comic books, lots of people wear the mask because eventually Robin
Oh, okay.
gets old enough and then he becomes Nightwing. And
Oh,
even yeah, so Nightwing is also was like the person who wore the red Robin suit, but then he got older and he became um his own like his own superhero. And like I
he
think one
stopped
of the
wearing the
characters in
skirt.
Gotham Knights is he uses guns a lot, and people were saying, well, how can you have like Batgirl going around punching people and then this guy going around shooting people, and people were like, they're stun guns, they're not really dying. And then because that was such disconnection where it's like Batman will never kill anyone, and
Yeah.
then you would then just like pummel some guy's head into a wall, and then like, yeah, he's sleeping, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got our other trailer, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So this is a continuation of the Batman Arkham universe.
Maybe by
Um,
the same people, right? Or by the original
yeah,
two games.
so this is from Rocksteady, who made the original Arkham games. So these are the people who made like the Asylum and the City, and then the Gotham Knights dev made the older games. But this is so if I don't think we have any gameplay from this. I think this is just a.
No, I can see.
So we're in Metropolis, which is Superman's home. If you don't know your
That's a real C,
if you
by
don't
the
know
way.
your DC lore.
Yeah.
So it seems like the Suicide Squad. If you don't know the story behind the Suicide Squad and you haven't watched the Suicide Squad film, good on you. Do not watch it.
Have you
It's
watched it properly then?
Yeah, I've watched the whole Suicide Squad. It was terrible.
Oh God. Good
The
lord.
idea of the Suicide Squad is a bunch of Batman villains who are in prison. They get released by the government with bombs implanted into their brain, and they're forced to fight against some of the more powerful enemies that are terrorizing the different cities inside the Batman universe. And the idea is, if they don't comply with what the government's asking them to do, they'll immediately blow up the chip inside their head, which is why they're called the Suicide Squad, because if they ever need to get rid of them, they can immediately just kill them, sort of thing. But the idea here is, as you'll see by the trailer, they're going into this city and they're like talking and they're trying to find the target, and they're fighting a bunch of aliens are also invading, and then they finally find their target,
Classic.
who is in fact Superman, who seems to be infected by some sort of red, like mind control device or something. Like you can tell by his
Yeah.
eyes, he's gone a bit crazy, sort of thing. So it seems
I
like the
think you
Suicide
can tell by
Squad
his actions, but
has to try and kill Superman.
I do
So
like the idea of evil Superman because like he is so powerful. Like you can kind of
if you
see
like
what
the
happens if he
idea of
could
evil
just use it all for
Superman,
evil.
watch The Boys on Amazon. It's
Yeah,
really
that's
good.
true. Yeah.
So I think
But in this trailer, I quite like the character expressions. Like they say, like, "Oh, it's Superman, we're safe," sort of thing. Like,
yeah,
"Oh, they won't kill us." And it's like, "Oh shit, he just killed that guy."
but we only see Suicide Squad fighting Superman, but the full title is called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So it seems like the
Oh,
entire Justice League might be infected with this red sort of brain control virus sort of thing, where you're going to have to fight like every single member of the Justice League and like either get them mind controlled or like just straight up kill them. I don't know. Superman's pretty fucking OP. Like I can't imagine the Suicide Squad would be able to kill him unless they got some kryptonite or something.
Yeah.
Like Superman's a
Unless they
very
could-
strong character in the DC
Well,
universe.
They could have an interesting way, like they have like a device that can like slightly fatigue him because of the mind control thing, maybe, or something. Like you could be a little bit more creative
Oh,
now
that's
that he's got another weakness.
There's a new Batman film coming out. Do you know about this? We're getting a new Batman film called The Batman.
Is it the one
with
with
Robert Pattinson? Can we watch this on the podcast? I don't actually know. Like I've never tried to watch a movie trailer before.
Is this still Warner Brothers? Right?
Yeah, but I'm watching Warner Brothers games, so I'm gonna mute the audio for sure.
Yeah,
I'll try watching it. I'll try watching the audio with it in a window on my YouTube, with my YouTube not full screen, and see if that's okay. Just do some limit testing for whether we can watch movie trailers.
Wait,
not.
So is this coming from the Gotham series, right? Or is this not?
No. In the Gotham series, Bruce Wayne is a kid.
Yeah. But is it like what's it called? Like canonical? Whatever that word
don't
is.
think so. No.
Okay.
I don't think so at all. Like it seems like from what I've seen of the Gotham TV series, it seems like there's different actors. It's just YouTube will recommend you a TV show if it thinks it's like related to this. It's not necessarily related at all, sort of thing.
Okay.
I know Robert Pattinson gets a bad rap because of the Twilight films, and I know people didn't like him in that, but I actually think he's a very good actor.
Yeah, he's not bad in those films, is he?
I don't know. I haven't seen them, but I know like people don't like him because of those. But like, he's been a phenomenal actor recently. Like I know he's been doing some like indie films, like The Lighthouse was really popular this year. Good Times was like a super depressing film. The same directors in who made Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. So it's a great film. He did very well in Harry Potter. He was Cedric Diggory in the Harry Potter films. I don't know if you if you go back and watch the Harry Potter films now, you'll be like, oh my god, Robert Pattinson was in Harry Potter, and I never realized, sort of thing.
Yeah. Somebody going back and watch Law and Order, you realize Logan Paul was in an episode.
And Tobuscus in the same episode.
Yeah, but I knew Tobuscus. I didn't know who Logan Paul was at the time.
Logan Paul was a gamer that hated women in Law and Order. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks interesting. It's going to be our next adaptation of Batman. I feel like Ben Affleck did not get a fucking chance at all. Like he had to be in a Superman film, and he had to be in a Justice League film, and he never got his own film. And I thought Ben Affleck was like all right from what I saw of him with Batman, but I would have like, how did Aquaman get a fucking entire film, and now we're just.
Yeah, I think because like, they weren't like, Batman fatigue. Maybe they're worried about. But yeah, like normally, if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you do a film. This isn't always true, but like, you'd normally do a film with them, the characters in before they're in.
So this is this is a standalone Batman film. There's a standalone Joker film that has nothing to do with anything.
Yes.
We have a standalone Justice League universe that has nothing to do with anything.
Yes.
We have standalone TV shows that have nothing to do with anything.
Yes.
And we have standalone other TV shows that have nothing to do with anything. So,
but they have something to do with each other, though.
Yes, but not all of them. Because Gotham... Gotham's in a different universe to like the CW, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow universe that garbage
I
TV
really don't
exists.
understand.
I don't know. I don't think Robert Pattinson looked that good. I'm so used to seeing like Christian Bale look like a fucking tank in the Batman outfit, and then you get to see like Robert Pattinson looks very like small and skinny compared to like Christian Bale. So he's not a very. I would say Robert Pattinson, in my opinion, isn't making a very intimidating Batman here. Like like when you see him in like the black eye makeup, he kind of looks like he's in fancy dress sort of thing. I think maybe
Is
the
this
idea is if it's an earlier Bruce Wayne where he's trying to still get into the Batman. Like,
because at the end, it's like, who's this guy? It's like, oh, clearly no one knows who Batman is.
I think they're trying to set up like a series, but I feel like it's impossible to follow the Christopher Nolan Batman films with Christian Bale. He was
no
so
one's
good.
had a good enough chin to be Batman IRL so far.
George Clooney was Batman with nipples.
Yeah, he's the best one, but still not quite right.
No, he wasn't. I don't think he. We've had Christian Bale, Robert Pattinson, Val Kilmer, George Clooney. Who else has been Batman? Let me look it up. I've watched all the old Batman. Oh, Ben Affleck, which I think Adam West. Adam West, of course, the original Batman.
The people that
Michael Keaton was a really good Batman.
The people that get to play Superman actually look like Superman. I don't understand how they messed up with Batman. I just find that really weird. Yeah, I guess Christian Bale is probably the closest, right?
Kevin Conroy is the voice actor for a lot of the old Batman animated stuff. I really like Will Arnett as Lego Batman. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Another Batman actor there. But yeah. And of course, again in movie news again, Tony, we're actually getting the Snyder cut of Justice League. This has been a meme for so long that we've been... DC fanboys have been saying, I can't believe Snyder didn't get... So if you don't know, the original Justice League, Snyder stepped away from the project because I think of a family-related issue, and then Joss Whedon, who was famous for directing stuff like Firefly, the original Avenger films. He came along, he changed the color palette, he finished this film. He reshot a lot of stuff. We know they had to do a lot of reshoots because Henry Cavill grew a mustache for his next film, and they were like, shave it off, and he was like, no. So they had to spend like millions on CGI and get out.
He couldn't.
No. I have so much respect for Henry Cavill just been like, no, I'm not going to shave it. Henry Cavill's like really popular with PC gamers now because of The Witcher, and like he got asked a question on like PC gaming. No, he got asked like Xbox or PS4, and he was like, nah, PC. And he did. I know he's like a huge Warhammer fan. And he put out like an Instagram post the other day where he built like his own gaming PC to play on. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Didn't he like record the whole him building it or something, or just the end of it or something? Like he posted a lot on Instagram. Yeah.
No, it's like a really long video that goes through him building that, and he puts he had like a really cool tempered glass side with like a CPU digital display which showed the temperature through the glass. But he put it on upside down. So he took the entire thing apart and then put it back on. And then in Jay's video, he was like, yeah, you can actually just flip that in the software. You don't have to actually put it the right way up.
To be fair, he did the right thing, because I was watching a Gamers Nexus video, and apparently, because it's an all-in-one water cooling system, right, basically. Apparently, if you put it in the wrong way around, like you can actually like start damaging the pump. Like it is meant to go the way it's meant to go around, like with the display. So I think
he said Christian Bale is a massive method actor. That's true. Like that guy won't take a role unless he has to gain 100 pounds or lose 100 pounds. Like he's
Christian
insane.
Bale was that, sorry.
Christian Bale. Have you seen like the pictures of his movie transformations where he goes from looking like he's about to die of starvation to being like ripped as hell?
My only issue though is he's a complete asshole. So,
well, you shouldn't have put up those fucking lights. That was the lights.
That's not the only thing though, but that's the famous clip.
Okay.
We
got a trailer for an official teaser for the Black Adam film with Dwayne Johnson. Oh well, I'll have to.
What?
So the way this film is going to release in 4 1-hour parts on HBO Max next year.
What?
So apparently the Zack Snyder Justice League Director's Cut is 4 hours long. And I can't think of anything worse to spend 4 hours on than watching the Snyder Cut of fucking Justice League.
Well,
I hate
why
Zack
is it in
Snyder
4 parts?
Dude,
why is it in 4 parts?
Because they're because they want people to subscribe to HBO Max, and this way they can keep them subscribed.
It's like a TV series in a way. Like it's like four long parts. Okay.
Well, I think they were like people aren't going to sit down and watch 4 hours of the Zack Snyder cut, so we'll just release it like a TV show. And then hopefully someone will get baited into watching it. I don't know. Like, I think Zack Snyder is one of my least liked directors of all time. I
don't like him.
One of my most hated films of all time are like Sucker Punch, Batman v Superman, terrible film. I think, to his credit, I actually don't think the Watchmen film is that bad. I actually think the Watchmen
I like the Watchmen. Yeah.
Which, yeah. I really like the Watchmen TV series, which came out like recently.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
Which was on HBO, which was actually quite good. But yeah, I'm gonna click on this trailer. I want to see this trailer. I knew this was coming. Like, I seen people saying Dwayne Johnson was gonna be like Black Adam, so I'd be interested to see how it's gonna work. Isn't I think Black Adam's in like the Shazam universe sort of thing.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. He's like the nemesis of Shazam.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I think that's how he works. So I think we're gonna get I think he's sometimes an anti-hero, maybe. So they might turn him into an anti-hero. But we'll have to see, like, if they flip-flop on that sort of thing. So that'll be interesting to see. Anyway, move on to Epic versus Apple. So we got a lot of news about Epic versus Apple. So Apple has informed. So this was like a couple of weeks ago now. But Apple informed Epic Games they will terminate all their developer accounts and cut Epic off from the iOS and Mac development tools on August 28th, according to a new statement. As you pointed out, Tony, saying that Apple has a $1 trillion market cap, Apple now has a $2 trillion market cap since April 19th. As I was pointing out as well, Google has a $1 trillion market cap. I think it's one of the 5 US businesses to do that. It's the first US company to hit $2 trillion is Apple. But as you were pointing out rightfully last week, Apple and Google are much bigger companies in the grand scheme of things than Epic, although we also have to take into account that Tencent is also huge as well, which owns 40% of.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they have any stakes. They don't have the majority control of it, unfortunately. Well,
I was trying to figure out the market cap of Tencent, but it was in yen, and I couldn't really figure it out. So if somebody knows, let me know.
Yeah.
So Epic is in the. I'm going chronologically through the things that happened. So some of the stuff I say won't be right now, but then I'll explain what happened later. So Epic appeared in court to demand a restraining order so that Apple can't cut off access to their developers. The Epic judge said he will protect Unreal Engine, but not Fortnite. So the Epic, the judge has ruled that they have won the temporary restraining order against Apple, so they can't cut off access to the developers, but they are not. They're not granting access back to Fortnite and the App Store.
Yeah,
the judge specifically said Epic strategically chose to breach its agreements with Apple, which I think is very fair. What are you going to say?
The thing I'll say is that I don't think that court was actually meant to be talking about that. I think they're just trying to see if they could add it to the restraining order sort of thing. Right. But that's my understanding of it. That's really basic.
Basically, this restraining order was an injunction, so I believe this buys them a couple of weeks, sort of thing. so that iOS can't immediately shut off their developers, which I think is a breach of like. I don't think Apple can be like, oh, we don't like what Epic did with Fortnite. We're now going to cut off all the developers as well because that's got
Yeah,
nothing to do
I think
with
that's why the
Fortnite
judge.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why the judge was able to stop one of them but not the other, sort of thing. Because, like,
Mm.
yeah.
So, Microsoft
But I don't
actually.
think.
Oh, sorry. What are you saying?
I was saying, I don't think it was that judge is like he wasn't there to like talk about the whole thing. It was just talking about like the restraining order injunction sort of things, not like the whole should Fortnite be able to do what it did. Like that's like a different court thing entirely.
Yeah.
But
Microsoft filed a new declaration in support of Epic Games. They stated that Apple interfering with the Unreal Engine would hurt creators and keep people from playing not just their games but everyone's. If you don't know, Microsoft develops a lot of games using the Unreal Engine, and the Unreal Engine is a huge engine on mobile especially. So this would be huge if they were trying to remove all of the Unreal Engine developers' access from the iOS store. And as a point again, Microsoft has a 1 trillion market cap, so this declaration is huge in terms of the scope of the company.
yeah, they're on the same playing field as Apple, basically.
WordPress came out recently and said that that they said Apple wouldn't allow updates to the free app until it added in-app purchases, letting Apple collect a 30% cut.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I didn't realize this one actually. That's crazy.
I think
That's pretty greedy.
Yeah.
Then again, apparently Xbox and PlayStation do this. So
because I believe Apple gave a break to Amazon streaming service on
and I think Huffington Post or something like that. They've done it as well.
They've allowed some video streaming apps to bypass the App Store because I believe they have Netflix.
Oh, Netflix.
Yeah, they have Netflix and the Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Spotify. I'm not sure though, but in the past they've given exemptions to people and not other people. But it seems like completely arbitrary who gets the cut and who doesn't, and like even going as far to force someone who wants to make a free app to add the purchases so that Apple can make money off them seems a bit scummy, right?
Yeah, that's really dumb.
Fortnite was doing their continued like free Fortnite campaign thing, which is kind of cringy sort of thing, where they're like trying to get Fortnite kids to try and fight against Apple's 30% cut sort of thing.
Basically, oh look, go and upvote our Twitter hashtag war. It's like I understand that they want to get like the hashtag war going because they want to make Apple.
I understand that they're like trying to be like, oh, this is good for the market. iOS is a closed system, but like they strategically broke the iOS rules in order to get this lawsuit going.
I don't have a problem with that. It's more the fact that they originally tried to talk to Apple, like they're originally only going to do it for themselves, and once that failed, they're like, "Oh, we're going to make this like a big thing." Because like they did the same thing. They tried to strong arm Steam to like, "Oh, 30%." They're pretending they're like super competitive. Like, "Oh, 30% isn't that great. You should like do what we do." It's like it has nothing to do with that, Epic. You're just trying to make yourself look better.
Yeah,
like that's what I find a bit shady.
So Fortnite started an in-game tournament where you could get the Tart Tycoon skin, which is obviously a play on an evil apple from their 1980 Fortnite advert. You could also earn a parody cap of the old Apple logo, but replaced with free Fortnite and a rainbow llama, the logo of a lot of Fortnite stuff. Okay.
It's so weird, though.
Apple terminated Fortnite's creator account on the App Store now, so Epic themselves no longer have access to their creator account on the App Store. The developers who also use the Unreal Engine still have access to theirs for now because of course, the lawsuit, the restraining order injunction that was put in place by the judge. So that's still up to be seen what's going to happen with that. And what else? Hang on a sec. I haven't. Yeah, I needed to put another piece of news in here that I put in last minute. Give me a second, sorry. So, Apple actually rejected a Facebook app update that was telling users that Apple took 30% cut of in-app purchases, citing the notice as irrelevant information. So Apple, sorry. Facebook was setting up a feature on its iOS app which allowed users to create for-pay online events, and it intended to help businesses and people recoup some revenue loss from the activities now limited by the coronavirus pandemic. Facebook asked Apple to waive the 30% cut, which they denied. So, Facebook tried to inform users by putting out an update to their app that said, hey, we're trying to help people who are cut out by Facebook, but just know that this 30% cut's not coming from us. We're trying to help you. This is coming from iOS. Apple blocked this, citing the irrelevant information clause. And we already know Facebook is very unhappy with the way iOS's data tracking works, where it's going to interfere with the already ludicrous amount of data tracking that Facebook does themselves.
Yeah, it turns out Apple actually tracked data, just not directly. Which is why they can get away with saying their privacy first, because they let other people do it for them.
Yep.
It's really shady business from Apple, and they've made actually a lot of money from collecting data. Getting other people to collect data for them. Yep. It's like really weird.
But yeah, Facebook, another huge company. I actually don't know how much they're worth, like their market cap, but probably massive. Yeah, $1 billion company.
That's big, but they're pretty big.
Every time I search for someone's market cap, it shows me their stock price. I don't know what the hell to do with stocks, so anyway.
Yeah. I think we're not a big fan of Facebook, but like this seems like an actual genuine thing that would be helpful. Obviously, I'm not saying like they're doing it out of the kindness of their own hearts. Like clearly, like businesses
they're going to benefit from helping
reasons, but this actually seems like a good thing.
Obviously, yeah. One final piece of news as well that's not directly to do with this, but is very much connected because of the way where it comes and when it comes out. The Unity is preparing for an IPO. That basically means their stock is going public, which could be really bad news for Epics. So, Unity is claiming 2 billion monthly active end users. They have 1.5 million monthly active creators, and over half of the top games that are available on mobile right now were made with Unity. You can make mobile games with Unity, PC, and console. We always talk about how Unity right now is mostly a mobile development tool. Lots of people use Unity. 53% of the top 1,000 games on the iOS App Store and Google Play are Unity-based games. So this is why this is huge news when this stock's going public, right as Apple and Google are removing the Fortnite, and Apple's removing Epic's access to the Unreal development tools from the iOS store. Unity admits it's never made a profit since the beginning. Lots of businesses don't run on profits. I mean, some famous examples would be YouTube's never made a profit, Spotify's never made a profit, and they're just run through their growth and angel investors, that sort of thing. Apparently, Unity lost $163 million this year. That is up from the $131 million it lost the year before, because whenever you go public with a company, you have to list things called risk factors.
You have to. A lot of information has to be put to the public as they do this.
So there was plenty of risk factors they listed as to why it might not want to happen, because this isn't fully going through now. But they have this IPO filing which shows that they have the intent to go public, but they could go back on it. And one of the reasons or risk factors they showed was as to why it might not happen is such as if, say, a certain fruit-themed platform might not want you on their platform anymore. That's me describing it in an easier way to understand. But basically, what they said was one of the risk factors is if a platform, for any reason, just removed you from their platform and didn't allow you to use it. So like if Apple were to just say Unity developers can't use iOS anymore, that would be like a huge risk factor for investing in Unity's public stock.
Yeah.
So, one thing I will say, what would be really interesting, what if when the Unity stock goes public, Apple were to invest a lot of money into the public Unity stock and try and force Unreal Engine off the iOS store and double down on Unity developers? What if Tencent had a massive investment into Unity's IPO, the big backers of Epic Games, and they had a big saying power on the Unity apps that exist on the mobile market right now? Maybe Microsoft should be forced to buy it, like they're being forced to buy TikTok for some reason in the US.
I really hate that Trump order,
what is it?
by the way. But I don't think Apple will be allowed to do this. I don't think Apple will be allowed to like just say you can't use Unreal on our platform. Like they cite like a security flaw.
Huge legal issues with this sort of stuff.
Because they're being investigated for anti-monopoly practices already. So I don't think they want to add to that.
From everything I've seen and understand, Tony, it's not illegal unless you get caught. So.
Oh yeah, in America, anti-monopoly stuff is really shit. Like it's like like in England, in the UK, like if Tesco like adds one too many shops, the government's like, right, that's it. You're gonna have to remove 2 shops from this other city. In America, they're like, nah, who cares?
Okay, that's Epic versus Apple. We'll go into the final topic, Guild Wars 2, and then we'll end.
You've got 10 minutes.
No, we're going to 3-hour podcast. We're going to
3 hours. Okay.
So, Guild Wars 2 is coming to Steam in November, only for new players. Initially, I was like, Guild Wars 2 is coming to Steam. This is amazing. I can finally launch it up on Steam. Why is that amazing? Well, I will go into that in a minute.
You can already do that, technically. But...
Yeah. Well, some of the features you could.
I guess.
But they're saying you can't merge existing ArenaNet accounts with the Steam version. This is because of Valve's 30% cut on gems.
Not again.
So, yeah. Obviously, we've already this directly links back. We've already seen Unreal Epic saying, "Hey, Valve takes too much of a cut of game devs. We're going to make it so that Steam's 30% cut. If you publish on Epic, you get it's only like a 12% cut, right?
Yeah.
And then I think it's like if you make it using Unreal Engine." Right? If you make it using Unreal Engine, we'll waive the entire cost of using the Unreal Engine, sort of thing, which is like huge.
That's really cool.
One thing to note is after December 2018, the Valve made a change to this. So the 30% cut was lowered to 25% after you sold $10 million US. After you made $10 million US in sales. And it was lowered to 20% if you made 50 million in sales. So this was incentivizing people to keep big developers to keep putting their games on Steam with microtransactions and stuff, so that they could get a smaller cut, right? Elder Scrolls Online does the same thing, to my understanding, where they didn't allow existing Elder Scrolls Online accounts to move over to Steam because they wanted to make it so. They wanted to stop the Valve cut from Steam as much as possible. So, I don't know. Do you have Elder Scrolls Online on Steam?
I bought it through Steam, so I don't actually know how it works.
You got it on... You're one of the newer players that Guild Wars 2 is trying to...
Because when it first came out, it's a piece of shit, as you know. So.
Well, it's Bethesda. What you expect?
They became a lot better.
So, the gem store is actually a huge part of what's keeping ArenaNet afloat. They've said that they don't actually make that much money off expansions directly. It's all from the gem store. It's owned by a South Korean company called NC Soft, and if you don't know, that publisher is a Korean publisher, and the MMO market in like Asia and especially like places like China and Korea is known for having huge microtransaction payments in them, even moving more towards like pay to win sort of like microtransactions.
Yeah, they're really not well put.
What are you saying, Tony?
I was saying like they don't really. Yeah, like you can like if you go into like an Asian MMO, like it's like you're immediately bombarded with oh yeah, like £30 for a skin sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's
So
ridiculously
you can
priced.
see how like gems are so important to Guild Wars 2 that this move to
Yeah.
Steam in November is going to. They're obviously not going to want to have a huge cut of that taken from existing players because that would be so detrimental to their business.
I will say this about their expansions. I do think they recoup their cost of development for the expansions because, like, normally when an expansion comes out, loads of people get it, like on launch. Like, there's like tons of people playing, but
so
obviously that's
the
3
Steam
years ago now.
the Steam store page for Guild Wars 2 is now up.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed that based on the recommendations for the graphics, the minimum and recommended is quite low, which is expected. They're saying like recommended an Intel i3.
It runs really,
a NVIDIA GeForce
really
GTX 2050, right? But the RAM requirements are massive.
Yep.
Like it's 6 gigabytes for minimum, and then the recommended RAM is 24 gigabytes of RAM. Is Guild Wars 2 RAM gated? Is like
no.
It feels like RAM. It might be one of the biggest factors in like getting Guild Wars 2 to run well, sort of thing.
What the hell? The recommended CPU is no different than the minimum.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
No. Look.
Okay.
Everything is the same apart from the RAM, which seems to be the biggest factor in the recommended and the minimum requirements.
That's not true.
Well,
I'll tell you right now, it's like every MMO, it's heavily CPU gated. Like that's where the bottleneck is.
Well, I think there is a memory is RAM. Like I think there is going to be a huge RAM gate on a lot of them. I think that's true for a lot of MMOs that the RAM is a big factor.
But not by this much.
I don't know. Like different games have different. Like I know, like Battlefield 5 is like hugely RAM gated a lot.
Yeah, that's fine. But I run Guild Wars 2 on like all settings to Ultra, so
yeah. But you have good RAM.
It does not use 24 gigabytes of RAM. I do not have 24 gigabytes of RAM. I only have 16 gigabytes.
Yeah, but that's 16 is still a big step up from 6.
That's fine, but it doesn't use anywhere near half. It uses a lot. Well, I'll give you that.
I would be really interested to see a video of RAM testing for this. So I'm going to try and look that up afterwards, and we'll see. Like, because I noticed
my testing, I've never seen it go above 9.
Okay, because I know for sure that there's definitely huge performance dips when you go into like major cities in Guild Wars 2, and it definitely could have some more optimization sort of thing. I mean, it's a 10-year-old engine almost now, so
you have to. Yeah, the biggest issue is it's trying to render like all the particles and all like the fancy legendary items that other characters have. There needs to be more things like
the stuff you find with MMOs is they run for a very long time, so there's not a chance to re-release the game with a new engine. So a lot of the time when new expansions come out for the MMO, they're kind of slapping band-aids on top of the old engine to try and get it to run these more demanding graphics from the new expansions.
I would still say even with the engine they have, they could do a lot more to make the performance better in cities.
Tony, you asked me, why would you want this on Steam if you already own it off Steam? So I'm going to answer you. What are the advantages to having a game on Steam? Steam Wallet. You can sell digital stuff, trading cards, CSGO skins, etc. to buy gems. You could even use your Steam Wallet to buy the game itself. You could use some countries need to use the Steam Wallet for stuff like regional pricing as well. I don't know if ArenaNet has very good regional pricing on their stuff. So
no, I don't think so.
That's a huge thing for Steam advantages. Steam friends list
for me.
What? Go on.
Oh yeah. I would say for me, like because I play Guild Wars a lot. Like I can trade gold for gems.
Yeah.
Like, in-game gold. So yeah, I didn't really think about
that. So the Steam's friends list you would have Shift Tab. You can use Steam Voice Chat, Steam Text Chat. Your friends on Steam would know when you were playing Guild Wars 2 and they could play with you. Whereas lots of people have more friends on Steam than they have on their ArenaNet account, for example. So that's a big feature. Steam Community. There would be a Steam Guides. You can use Steam Guides in the Steam forums. I use the Shift Tab Steam Guides for a lot of games. I find that stuff really useful. So having that built into every Steam game is going to be really, really beneficial. Big picture mode. Every single Steam game that comes out can be used in big picture mode, and Steam controllers can even act as a keyboard and mouse, which means people can make custom controller configurations for a Steam controller where you can play Guild Wars 2 with a controller. It's possible.
I will say, I've already played Guild Wars 2 with a controller. So.
Okay, how was it?
Yeah, there's actually a mode for it. Like, by default, I think middle click or something like that. You can like switch between controller
I didn't know that.
control scheme, or if they just change the camera, because like obviously you can't use the camera the same way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I prefer the keyboard though.
Yeah, but with this change, people will be able to create custom configurations specifically for the Steam controller, and it can input inputs as if it was a mouse click or a keyboard stroke.
Yeah. I was using a third-party add-on, which is really easy to install.
Right. That's another thing that I wanted to. So we'll talk about potential unconfirmed Steam advantages. They could add a workshop for add-ons for Guild Wars 2. I wanted this, but there is a low chance of this ever happening.
Yeah, the first one you wrote down, I don't think is true either.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go. So I think there's a low chance of that happening, given ArenaNet's history with add-ons, as you said. They don't really support add-ons at all. No. It's very, very. Add-ons for Guild Wars 2 exist in a grey area where there's very few of them because
it's basically hacking the game to get them to work.
Yeah, the legality of add-ons in Guild Wars 2 is very much unknown. Mm-hmm. There's no workshop support on the Steam page currently, so I assume that they're not adding this feature. I said automatic updates, but my guess is that when you launched the Guild Wars 2 on Steam, it would just open the launcher and then the launcher would update. But this is unconfirmed.
It's going to look exactly like ESO.
Yep. They could add achievements and Steam cards. So cards aren't on the store page, but as we understand the way cards work, is you can't unlock cards in your game until it is sold enough copies per Steam's rules in order to stop the trading card mafia that existed on Steam for a long time.
Yeah.
And also, this game already has a big achievement list inside the game, so I don't think they would want to add an achievement outside the game onto Steam.
They have direct links to other things and other achievements. I would say ESO has like achievements and trading cards, so it's not out of the ordinary to have this.
Yeah, they could just make the achievements on Steam link directly to the in-game achievements. Which is,
and a select few. Yeah.
What Star Wars: The Old Republic's doing, as we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's basically just a double achievement system. It's not like it's not.
Let's talk about my theories as why is Guild Wars 2 coming to Steam now? Guild Wars 2 used to be a very profitable game. In 2016,
it did.
Year after Heart of Thorns came out, it was the third biggest revenue generator on PC after Counter-Strike and Overwatch. It made 91 million. 2017 as well. 2017, of course, is the year Path of Fire came out. Very profitable.
Yeah, that really picked up users.
So, let's talk about trouble at ArenaNet. So, MMORPG, back in 2018, they had an interview with the Guild Wars 2 game director Mike Z, as they call him. His last name is unpronounceable. Mike Zadorongini. I will call him Mike Z, who revealed at Gamescom that Guild Wars 2 would not get a third expansion, at least not anytime soon. Maybe 4 to 5 years later, which was right, because at 2018, we're now in 2021, which is when the Guild Wars 2's next expansion is coming out. They said they were going to put all their effort into the living story. This story itself is on MMORPG's website, but I can't access MMORPG website for some reason, so I can't show you the article. I've just looked at excerpts on the Guild Wars 2 forum. It seems like MMORPG website's down, or it keeps going down. Like, I'm not sure if the website's still running, sort of thing. But when I checked, it said it was down last week, so we'll have to see. So, I started looking into Guild Wars 2 game director Mike Z. If he said this back in 2018, what's he doing now? He actually left the company with the VP of Marketing, Mike Silbowitz, back in March 13 of this year. He literally left this year. And where did he go and work? he went on to work for Relentless Games, which is Amazon. Both the VP and Mike went to go over there to work for Amazon Games. Relentless Games, if you don't know, is the developer who makes Crucible, which is the game that nobody should ever play because it's a piece of shit. But what I'm assuming, because I was like, well, if Mike Z was the new game director on Guild Wars 2, what happened to the old game director of Guild Wars 2, which was, of course, Colin Johansson, the very popular face of Guild Wars 2 for a long time.
Yeah, he's really popular.
And when I looked into him, it turns out there's Crucible, of course. I was just showing off. It's Amazon Games. Colin Johansson, back in 2016, he went to work at Amazon Games, and he's still working there. And why this is really, really interesting is because Amazon Games is making its own MMO called New World. So I'm assuming if Amazon has 2 former Guild Wars 2 directors working over there, they have to be in some part helping them build this MMO, which is really interesting because
I would assume so.
This MMO is going to be directly competing with other MMOs. So this is why another reason why Guild Wars 2 might be in trouble. Of course, we've talked about this on the podcast before. Guild Wars 2 last year laid off 143 employees. They cancelled a bunch of internal projects. Seems like they weren't making as much money as they wanted to, and the development costs for their internal projects were too high, so they had to cut them off and focus directly
but if they made
on the
93
game.
million the year before or 2 years before.
They made that in 2016, Tony. This was 2019.
That's a lot of money to make and then not have enough money to have this number of people. But then again, the other thing you have to remember is like how ruthless companies can be. It's like, oh, we need to get rid of all these people. So yeah, I don't know.
Going back to Relentless Games, it's an Amazon Game studio, and apparently the people who make the people who make New World are called Amazon Games, and it's published by Amazon Games. And I think their official term is Amazon Game Studios Orange County. But I would assume Amazon would want 2 former Guild Wars 2 game directors to work on their MMO. So yeah. We got an update from Arena in 2019 on the future of the game, and they said they would continue working on the living story, moving from Season 4 to 5, and they were committed to working on the living story, as mentioned in the previous interview with Mike Z, who said that they are focused on working on the living story.
Which they have been, to their defense, but I think we're coming to the end, like one of the last. I think we're on Season 5 now.
MMOs moving to Steam. Was this influenced by SWTOR, Star Wars The Old Republic? Star Wars The Old Republic just came to Steam in July and was actually one of the top releases on the free-to-play side and the paid side as well. Star Wars The Old Republic was one of the most popular games of July on Steam. It had a huge resurgence with the move to Steam. So we've already seen that games are having... MMOs are having huge resurgence when people go and put them on a platform where people can see them and discover them. New World is also, as I talked about before, is actually kind of popular on Twitch right now. With its beta just came out literally this week. Streamers are playing it without being sponsored, which is huge because, as you know, Amazon owns Twitch. So Twitch could easily put out a bounty that says, hey, play this game. But all of the big MMO streamers, Asmongold, Sodapoppin, Asfand, Sips, obviously. Sips was actually playing this. They've all played it without being sponsored, which just goes to show you how massive the need for a new MMO is right now. People really want to play a new MMO, or they want to play an MMO they've never played before.
They want stuff that's familiar mechanics, but new something else that makes it different, yeah.
So Amazon's New World is releasing on Steam in spring 2021. And some of the features are, it has an endless crafting system that people seem to quite like a lot. The weapons level up as you use them. Yeah, the weapons level up as you use them, and they have a sort of tech tree. So every time you kill someone with a musket, you'll level up the musket, similar to like a game like Ratchet and Clank, where when you use a weapon, it levels up. I always said that was a really cool system because it rewarded you playing the game you wanted to play it, which I think is always cool.
It's a little bit more interesting in the sense that you could like obviously like in Ratchet and Clank you can't really like pick up a new weapon that's of the same type, whereas
Yeah.
in New World you can. It seems that you keep the old skill tree stuff, so that I don't think you like lose it.
And
So.
once you get through the starter zone, the game has voice over IP, which is, of course, as we know from Twitch, it's very good for stream snipers who like to play cancer music.
It's very
down their
good in
microphone.
general, Joe.
Yeah. So
that's how I play all my games.
So, answering this question again, why did it move to Steam now? There's a new expansion on the horizon. End of Dragons is Guild Wars 2. Oh, this is the page for New World if you're interested. I believe the way New World works is you can purchase it for £35, and then you can pre-order it now to get access to the beta. But when it comes out, you're going to buy the game, and then there's no subscription or like microtransactions, to my understanding. So that's how they're running it. We talked about the teaser for their third expansion, the End of Dragons. I doubt it, because every time there's a Guild Wars 2 expansion, there's always a dragon in it. So whenever they say End of Dragons, I'm like, nah, there's no way it's the End of Dragons.
We are running out. Okay, in the lore though, we are running out of dragons.
So this is coming 2021, and Guild Wars 2 is releasing in November on Steam. So very close to the next year when the expansion will come out. Get all the new people on Steam, and then the expansion comes out, and there's another resurgence. We're going to Cantha, which is a Guild Wars 2 lore region, I believe. I don't know anything about Guild Wars 2 lore. Heart of Thorns came out in 2015, and Pathfire came out in 2017. So this is a 4-year expansion drought for the game, which is maybe another reason why we had such a bit of trouble with the heads of Guild Wars 2 leaving, and the huge layoffs that happened in 2019.
Because I genuinely think that if there was an expansion that came out at the end of last year, that the players would have come back and spent more money on the gem store sort of thing.
And according to MMOpopulations.com, it's still a very popular MMO according to educated guesses. It's ranked the 7th higher player base out of MMOs.
Almost all the world bosses are still running quite easily. So,
So Guild Wars 2 is estimated to have around 13 million total players, and then around 762,000 daily players. So still definitely a very popular MMO. So Amazon Games is entering an agreement with Smilegate RPG. They will publish Lost Ark in the West, a Korean ARPG MMO, which seems very pay to win in Korea. And then I was going to go on about how Amazon itself does not have a good track record with games at the moment.
No.
Because we had a breakaway game that I didn't remember existed back in 2016 that came out and didn't do very well. They did Crucible with the Relentless Games, which was like the what's that Borderlands Gearbox game called that nobody played, which is why I forgot it. No, not Borderlands, but the other one they made.
Oh yeah, I don't remember what it's called.
What was it called? Gearbox MOBA. What was it called? Battleborn. Battleborn was the... They tried to remake Battleborn with no interesting characters, and I was like, well, how the hell did you think that was going to be interesting? And then I was going to say, they're making an MMO. What the hell? I feel like that can't do well, but it's actually doing kind of well. So, like, I was going to say, like, Jagex has never published a good game. Like, we have no idea if their publishing is going to be good, and Amazon's never published a good game, so we have no idea if it's going to be good. But then we have all this MMO stuff coming out about New World, and it actually looks kind of good. But from everything I've heard of the Lumberyard engine, it seems like it's a fucking pain in the ass to work with. And like we've already seen some like big
not the Frostbite engine.
Yeah, with the we've already seen huge performance issues with the New World beta, but of course that could be down to beta. But obviously, lots of people in big places in MMO.
I've seen serviceability issues, but like it doesn't know where the enemies should be on screen.
So we'll have to see. Will Amazon Games get their shit together? Will New World be good? Will Guild Wars 2 get their shit together now they're on Steam? Will RuneScape
Maybe.
get their shit together now that they're maybe resurging and remaking this passion project from years ago with Flying Wild Hog? But yeah, that's the end of the podcast. We'll go to the tweet. Game Maker's Toolkit put out a tweet recently where, if you don't know, Notch agreed to delete his Twitter if Game Maker's Toolkit stopped posting about politics. And Game Maker's put out a tweet saying that, so I guess that time Peter Molyneux started crying during an interview is no longer my strangest interaction with a game developer. To which Jason Schreier replied with, I think he does that with a lot of journalists. He cried in an interview with me in 2013 as well, which is pretty funny. So yeah, there's another Peter-related tweet for you. But that's the end of the podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.